Welcome in. It is a Wednesday here on Darkness Radio. That means one thing. It's time for Supernatural News and Parashare. That also means another thing. We got to bring in a co-host. We're going to bring in the co-host with the most. He's the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear. He is the Beer City Bruiser. Bruiser, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Tim. How about yourself?
I could be better. I could nosh. I could not nosh. It's one of those things. Yeah.
I'm fired up for today. We had a good off recording conversation about the stuff that we like and that makes us good friends, and it got me fired up and excited to record today. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a good off-air conversation, as always. Yeah. Sometimes I think the stuff we talk about off-air is probably sometimes better than the stuff we talk about on-air.
I was going to say, we could have recorded that, released it as a separate episode, and people would have been just as entertained.
They would be.
Because we covered all gamuts of life. We went religion, we went supernatural, we went comic books, we went sports, we went all over the board.
We did. The one thing we didn't talk about is this weekend's border battle, but we'll probably leave that be.
Oh, that is this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. What do you think?
Packers for sure.
Ooh, look at you. Packers for sure. Really?
Yeah.
What do you know that I don't?
Where is it? Is it in Green Bay or is it in Minnesota?
It's in Minnesota.
Okay, so you have the advantage because it's on turf, and the Packers don't perform well on turf. Rodgers does not do well on turf. But I think he has something to prove.
They're saying Lazard isn't playing this weekend.
I understand that, but the thing that people forget is, as much of a dick as Aaron Rodgers is in person, he's a fantastic football player.
He is, yes.
And he makes receivers good.
Yes.
So I think Lazard's not playing, but he's got enough backups that he will have targets.
And they are saying Bakhtiari is playing this weekend, which scares me because that means his protection is at an all-time high.
Yeah, but Bakhtiari's getting older. Does he play the whole game? That's the question. But I think the Packers will take it.
He says he's ready to play the whole season.
I don't think he will.
No?
He says that every season. Nope. Yeah. I think he's going to get something's going to happen. He's been injury prone the last 3 seasons. He's great. Don't get me wrong. He's not a Tony Mandrich, but he's still I don't think he will last the whole season.
By the way, welcome to Sports Talk with the Cruiser and the Bruiser here on Sports Talk 890. The sport.
Look at that. We covered it.
That's right. You know what? I hate to say this. I think I agree with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't see the Vikings getting out of this one alive. I'll tell you why. Because we spent 3 games in our preseason looking at our scrubs that we didn't play our starters.
Yeah, you got to play them at least a quarter.
Yeah, and we didn't play any of them. So I don't think there's sufficient chemistry on especially our offensive side.
I think the Packers are going to get enough pressure on Cousins too that he's going to panic.
Oh, he'll fumble all over the place. Are you kidding me?
Because you said it yourself.
Yeah,
he gets a little bit of pressure and he freaks out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it'll be close to 3, and then Rodgers will open it up in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I'll
give you that.
I think the Vikes lose by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'll give you that too. I agree.
Yeah, I think that's how it'll end up. Interestingly enough, Sports Illustrated went and picked, and this is where we'll leave it. I know people are like, come on, quit talking football, guys. But Sports Illustrated went and picked every single team's record for the entire year. They went down the schedule.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, they picked my Vikings this year at 8-9.
Who did they pick to go the whole way?
I'm not sure. I don't remember who they did.
Okay.
But yeah, they picked, I know it wasn't the Packers or the Vikings. They said the Packers are going to win the division. The Vikings would be second, I think.
Well, the Packers will do what they normally do. They'll make the first or second round of the playoffs. And then
that's what they said.
flub.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah,
that's the Packers.
They said the Pack were out in the first or second round of the playoffs.
I have to get used to watching Panthers. I've seen more Baker Mayfield this year. Now, mind you, my wife is a huge Baker Mayfield fan. Mm-hmm. Hence why last Thanksgiving we went to Cleveland for Thanksgiving because she wanted to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because of the whole Baker Mayfield commercials.
Yep.
But he's all over the news down here, because he's Baker Mayfield, and I'm getting excited. They're getting me excited for the Panthers season.
Do you think Baker beats the Browns?
No,
No?
Oh yeah, no, yeah I do. Yeah I do because Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended, and I think he has a chip on his shoulder.
Who's starting for Cleveland? Is it Brissett?
Their backup, yeah. Yeah, Deshaun's suspended for 11 games, I think they said?
Yeah, 11 games.
Yep.
So is it Brissett starting? Or because I thought they brought in another quarterback too.
I still think they gave it to Brissett, I think.
Brissett?
I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to them. I've been just trying to catch up on my Packers back home, and then like just being in Carolina, everywhere you go, it's Panthers this and Panthers that, and Christian McCaffrey this and Baker Mayfield that. And
how's the Panthers defense?
it looks pretty good. They're all healthy.
Huh.
They just got that real good rookie. But I don't think they'll do great.
No,
I think they're rebuilding.
It'd be interesting. That's one game I'd like to watch too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm just gonna watch everything on Sunday because I can.
It'd be nice to see Baker beat him, just to get a laugh out of it.
Yeah, I think he will because he's got a chip on his shoulder. It's just like Brady playing the Patriots and just like Favre when he was with you guys playing the Packers.
Yeah.
They have chips on their shoulder and they're going to prove, hey,
Yeah.
you getting rid of me is a big mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the games where individual players can get a nice laugh out of it and beat their old team.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah. Especially like the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick thing. I just love that he stuck it to him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I hate Belichick.
I do too. I shouldn't say I hate, not that I hate Belichick. Don't get me wrong. I think Belichick is a brilliant coach for a cheater. But I think he's, I think he's a brilliant coach. I just think that, to be as grandiose as to think that your system is going to carry you to another ring without a talented quarterback is beyond absurd. So yeah, it really is. It really is the players that get you there.
Fall's a good time, man. You get football season, you get the spooky season with October right around the corner. So all the good movies are coming back, and all the good reruns of the shows are coming back, and Rob Zombie's got that new Monsters movie debuting, and you got the new Addams Family coming out, and it's just like I'm excited. I love fall because of all of that.
Yeah. The minute September 1st hit, I think people automatically, broke out pumpkin spice, which I'm sorry, folks.
You're not a fan of that, huh?
Oh, I can't stand pumpkin anything.
I love pumpkin spice.
But two, we automatically, spooky season was in full effect.
Yeah. See, in our house, spooky season's always around, but it's cool that everyone else is starting to get around it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm all for it, because it, we talk about we activate the seasons a little too soon. But that's one season I'm all for. Activating
me too.
Activating it a little soon. I'm all for it. I got Mrs. Bruiser a few years ago. She's a big fan of ducks. So I found some ghost ducks and they sit out in our front yard year round. Yeah. And our neighbor, in fact, we moved in, saw me putting them out. She goes, it's June. So I don't care. Who cares?
It's not like ghosts only come around in October.
That's right.
They're around all the time.
That's right.
Tune into Darkness Radio.
You should tell her you should see the ghost the ghost chipmunks that are in your yard right now, but you can't see them. You can't see them. They're ghosts. Speaking of chipmunks, boy, have mine been active lately.
Yeah, you showed me that picture yesterday of Chip stealing a Pop-Tart, huh?
Yeah, took it right away from Yoko. It was amazing. Yoko was out in the front yard painting, and she was just out there, and she innocently put her Pop-Tart out, to eat. Chip came right up and stole it from her. Just went, my Pop-Tart, took it and ran with it.
Took it and ran.
I said, that's what you get for sharing your breakfast.
See, our chipmunks around here don't do that yet. They still just mess with Ziggy. They come and I have the seeds out, like you said, and I'm doing the almonds, just like you said. Yep. And it's fun to watch. And then, take Ziggy out, and she's like, oh, it's playtime. And the chipmunks are like, oh, yeah, it is. And they just, they do their half zoom around her, and then they do the quick zoom. And then you see the trees moving. Yeah. And Ziggy puts her paw up and goes, well, what happened? I don't know what happened.
Where's my buddies? Yeah, they're.
I showed Mrs. Bruiser that picture you sent me. I said, "Look what's going on at Tim's house." She goes, "You better not teach the chipmunks that." I said, "I won't."
What's funny is yesterday I'm hanging out and my boy Wicket, he's my boy. I think he's the only boy in the group. He's the smartest out of all of them. And it's not because I'm partial, but he really is quite intelligent. Yesterday, he's going around and he's checking the fortification of all his little hideouts. So he's checking the easement under the house, and he's checking for some reason, the birdhouse we keep out. And he was in there for a little bit, checking it out, making sure everything was fortified. And then he was checking out his own little hovel there. And I kept saying, hey, buddy, I got almonds for you. Come here. And he totally ignored me. He looked at me like, he's looking at me like, dude, I got work to do.
Yeah.
And he just kept running back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And he didn't take one almond.
Yeah. He's like, I'm busy, man. I got stuff to do. Winter's coming.
Yeah. So I think we're getting winter early this year.
Yeah. Animals know.
I don't need a farmer's almanac. I got chipmunks.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that's how the farmer's almanac decides it. They look at the animal, how the animals are acting.
Yeah.
You know, my dad always told me, and to this day I still believe this. He might be lying. I don't know. But he said, if you ever see cows, just immediately start laying down. It's going to rain soon.
Oh,
I said, what?
Yeah.
He says their joints ache, so they lay down.
Yeah.
And now every time it comes, I look. Every time I'm passing a cow pasture, it's going to rain soon. Then sure enough, it rains.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if my dad was telling me the truth or not, but I believe it.
I think he was. Yeah.
Yep. That's where I learned that animals, they know. They have that sixth sense.
They do. Yeah. I put on. I want to thank everybody who liked my reel the other day. I told everybody I have a watch monk, and it is Wicket.
Yes, he is.
He sits out on the front porch with me, and he will bark at anything.
You said he was yelling at Yoko the other day, wasn't he? Just sitting on your chair, chirping away?
Yeah. She came out of the house, and he started barking at her. I don't know what. She had the audacity to come outside when he was sitting in the chair. He was sitting in my chair.
Yeah.
And she came outside, and he barked at her. Just like, hey, what are you doing? But yeah, he'll when I'm sitting in my chair, he'll sit out front with me like an old coonhound. And he was barking at the kids across the street because they were screaming too loud. And then the neighbor's kitty corner from us came out, and the dog came out, and he started barking at the dog when the dog was barking.
Okay.
And then he barked at a neighbor who was walking by on their walk. So he barked at them.
Yeah.
And then he was so keyed up. We have a piece of drain pipe that we ended up taking off the house and putting down into like a little tunnel so they could run back and forth, because that's what they were doing anyways.
Right.
So we made a little tunnel for him to run back and forth. And so he went into the tunnel and started barking at himself in the tunnel because he was so keyed up. And so then I looked up what makes for a good Xanax for a chipmunk on Google. Because I'm just like, this poor kid's going to have a heart attack.
Yeah. Little guy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to settle down a chipmunk. I just don't. Yeah.
I do what I do with Ziggy is let him run it out.
Yeah. Well,
she'll get fired up at nighttime because our back door where we take her outside, if we don't turn on the back patio light, you can see her reflection. So she thinks it's another dog.
Oh.
So she'll sit there and all the hair will come up and she'll growl and she'll look at me and she'll bark. And she thinks she's protecting us. And I keep trying to explain to her, no, that's you. Like, it's you.
Well,
and I turn on the light and she'll look like, where'd it go? Where'd the dog go? So the first 5 minutes of us outside is her looking around for this other dog. And I keep trying to explain to her, it's you. That was your reflection.
Well, I'm trying to upload the clip and it would bark, right? So Wicket's looking around like, who's the other chipmunk barking? Yeah. I'm like, no, that's just you, buddy. And he's like, wait, I heard somebody else barking.
Yeah.
So he's looking around and he's barking at the bark. So I was like, oh God, this poor chipmunk's going to have a heart attack. He's too keyed up. So yeah, that's the activity.
Hopefully he makes it to winter, right?
Oh, he'll make it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so, his little heart will make it.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't explode in his chest. He's just, he's so concerned. It's his first full winter as an adult. So he's God love him. He's just, he's concerned. He's very
we all remember our first full winter as an adult, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember mine. I think my first winter, full winter as an adult, I was on the road doing radio and I was just hoping that I could afford the heat bill.
Yeah.
I think for him, he's just worried that he has enough seeds in his den. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's about it for that. Today on today's show, we've, boy, do we have stories for you. The James Webb Telescope has got an image of an alien planet. We'll tell you about that. We've got AI. Boy, let me tell you, I do have an AI story here. AI has officially won a state fair fine arts competition. It's state fair time, Bruiser, and evidently AI is putting itself in contests. A padlocked vampire grave was found in Poland with a sickle over its neck.
I seen that picture.
Yeah, we'll tell you.
That's a great picture, yes.
We'll tell you about that. And then a little later in the program, we'll tell you about how scientists believe they've found the secret to eternal life, and it has to do with jellyfish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's...
Do we have to start peeing on each other?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's going to be golden shower time for everybody.
It's the elixir of life now.
That's right. It turns out it's just a big Rick James party. So, or I'm sorry, that was R. Kelly, not Rick James.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a really good joke when you get a bunch of wrestlers on a beach and you walk up to someone and go, hey, my friend just got stung by a jellyfish. Can you pee on them? And then they start peeing. And your friend's like, why are you peeing on me?
If it were a Rick James party, we'd be burning each other with crack pipes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
we'd be sitting on a couch high on cocaine, burning each other.
That's right. It's a different party then. So let's start it out by going with the James Webb Telescope, shall we? They captured their first direct image of an alien planet. Evidently, it was just a couple of gray aliens sticking up the middle finger. Yeah, it's funny what you get when you catch them in the shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them was mooning us.
Yeah, they just pulled down their little alien trousers, and one got a moon, one got a shark, and the telescope was embarrassed. That's all there was to it. The next generation space telescope has achieved what astronomers are calling a transformative moment. Very few extrasolar worlds have ever been observed directly because they're so faint relative to their parent stars, which makes these latest images from the James Webb Space Telescope so impressive. Captured using the telescope's near-infrared camera, or the NIRCam, and mid-infrared instrument, or MIRI. I love these little acronyms. Yeah.
Scientists are so creative.
They are. They have a lot of time on their hands. They do. The images show for the first time since the James Webb began operations an extrasolar world imaged directly in a solar system some 385 light years from the Earth, known as HIP, or HIP 65426b. That's what we're going to name your new HIP, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to ask the doctor when he puts it in.
Yeah. What are you going to name your new hip, by the way?
Mine will be hip 682C.
There you go. That's a good one. The planet is very large, roughly 12 times the size of Jupiter, and also orbits its star at a distance equivalent to 100 times the distance from the Earth to the Sun. Incredibly, the telescope was able to separate them despite the planet being 10,000 times dimmer than its star. Well, I can't help how intelligent it is. I mean, yeah.
Why are we planet shaming all of a sudden?
I don't know. I have no idea.
They don't have a good school system in that solar system.
Well, I hear it's the funding. I mean,
it is.
It really is. Yeah. Obtaining this image felt like digging for space treasure. Is that a euphemism for something? Digging for space treasure?
It sounds like it.
If it would just keep its long finger out of its orifice, I think we would all be better for it.
You can put it in its black hole. It'll be okay.
That's true. Yes. Said lead analyst Aaron Carter, not the singer of
I was going to say the Backstreet Boys is up there. Look at him.
They are. Well, they had to have jobs after their career failed. Of the University of California, Santa Cruz. At first, all I could see was light from the star, but with careful image processing, I was able to remove that light and uncover the planet. Well, of course they were.
Photoshop.
Yep. Yes, exactly. Photoshop. While this particular planet is definitely not a good candidate for finding extraterrestrial life, the James Webb Space Telescope is likely to be observing a great many other worlds during its lifetime. This is a transformative moment, not only for Webb, but also for astronomy generally, said study leader Sasha Hinckley of the University of Exeter. So there you go.
Well, Aaron Carter knows what he's talking about. Good for him.
It's the first time anyone's ever uttered that sentence, by the way.
Do you think when he was looking through, like, for some reason, and I know it's not this way, I picture him doing the old school, looking through the telescope lens, like looking around, and all of a sudden there's a bright light, and he just goes, "Oh, my eyes! Oh!"
Probably, yeah.
And I know it's not that way, but just in my head, I entertain myself with that, and I have to giggle. And I do picture Aaron Carter of the Backstreet Boys doing that and then writing a song about it.
Oh, I could see that totally. Yeah. No, I'm with you on that for sure. Speaking of strange places and planets and things that we might do on them, unlike the jellyfish thing where we just pee on each other's legs. 4 things that we've learned about NASA's planned base camp on the moon. You know, we're planning on someday sending that rocket to the moon.
Yeah.
I don't know, whenever we can get it launched. Eventually, the station will allow astronauts to spend up to 2 months on the lunar surface. I got to ask you, Bruiser, what would you do if you had 2 months on the moon?
I would moon Earth. That'd be the first thing I do.
You just get up there and show your bare ass to the Earth?
You know, honestly, what I would do, yeah. I would try to pee my name in the Earth or in the moon's like surface. I know there's no gravity or anything, but like I would try to somehow make my mark that everyone would look at and go, nope, yep, that's Bruiser. You know, because like think about it, like Buzz Aldrin or whatever. He has his footprint up there.
Yep.
They have the lunar rover up there. They have the flag. No one's peed on the moon yet, so.
Well, no, because doesn't it float up into space?
It would, but I'd figure out a way where I could somehow pee my name in, and that would be like when people see that image, like, oh, that's Bruiser. Yeah, we get it.
Because it says BRU, and then the rest flew into the atmosphere.
Yeah, something. I don't know. 2 months on the moon would be a long time.
And then ended up hitting some alien's windshield and started a war with the Earth.
Oh, damn it. Who did that? Who is peeing on us? Piss off, Earthling. R. Kelly is down there again, isn't he? Lock up the children. R. Kelly's here.
Well, now that we have Bruiser's perspective of what he'd do with 2 months on the moon, there could be, I don't know, trying to grow vegetables or trying to set up a community.
Well, no, because they're going to send me with food, right?
Well,
like, I don't have to fend for myself up there, do I?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe they send you with experiments. Is Mrs.
Bruiser with me, or am I by myself? Who's with me?
Okay, here, because I know she's in the background.
She just yelled at me, Aaron Carter's not the Backstreet Boy, it's Nick Carter. But anyways, back to what we were saying.
See, this is why I'm whispering.
Yeah.
Do you want her to be with you, or do you want to be alone?
I might have to take her with me, because when I went on the Jericho cruise,
don't say it loud. I mean,
sorry. When I did the Jericho cruise, I didn't take her with me, and she won't let me live that down. And that was only a week.
Would you like some peace and quiet, or are you taking Mrs. Bruiser?
She would find a way to nag me at the moon.
She would hijack a Virgin Atlantic spaceship and come find you.
I'll come get him.
I can just see it now. Okay, so you have no choice. Mrs. Bruiser is with you on the deal. Berating you the entire time. So she never let you piss your name into the moon then. She would.
Oh, yeah, she would.
She'd probably slap you in the dick before you got the bee out onto the moon.
No, she'd give me that look, the look she gives me that she's disappointed in me. And go, Bruiser. But she'd understand, because I every time when I have to admit something, every time I'm on a road trip and I have to pee really bad, I find a snowbank and I pee my name into it.
Well, there you go. And what does she do?
Bruiser. Like, she just gets it.
Oh, okay.
It was very interesting when I taught my son how to do it, too.
Oh, really?
Well, he's not, his penmanship's not as good, though.
What do? Do you feed him like a bunch of Capri Suns and get him to say Bruiser Jr. in the snow?
Sure do.
Wow, there you go.
He did call me the other day and inform me that, this is a while ago, that when they were in Death Valley for their training, he peed his name in the desert. And I said, I'm proud of you, son.
Attaboy. Meanwhile, he hit a scorpion and really pissed it off.
Well, he told me, he says, I have to make this call quick. I said, why? He says, we have a break right now. I says, okay. So why does it be quick? He says, well, we're doing because they do those little war games for training.
Yeah.
He said, our unit got in trouble. I said, well, what happened? He says, a bunch of guys were texting their girlfriends while we're doing the war game, so they tracked their cell phones and they bombed us. I said, that's why I go, you're protecting our country right now? He goes, it's just training.
Well, that's a good way for
him. I'm not taking to the moon with me. He would start an intergalactic war on accident.
Yes, it's a good way for ISIS to find you. Well, at least they learn that way.
All right, if she's with me and I'm on the moon,
yeah,
a lot of romantic walks at night. Well, it's always night. Space.
Is this like facetious? No,
I would take her for a romantic walk on space.
This is like a romantic walk until you leave her on the dark side of the moon, then come back to base, or is this like
listening to some Pink Floyd?
Yeah. Or is this an actual?
You know what, actually, Tim, I would play catch with a football on the moon.
You could launch a football on the moon.
I'm saying, I would, if it was me and you, I'd be like, Timmy, go long, and I'd put you on the other. I'd be like, Cruiser on the other side of the moon, and I'd just launch it.
That thing might end up hitting Saturn.
I was gonna say the Cruiser, the Bruiser, are the ones that start the intergalactic war just because we're trying to play catch.
That's right. Yeah, we end up hitting some alien ship from like 50 miles away.
It turns out they're big football fans.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I got it. Interception. Come tackle me now.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, humans haven't set foot on the moon in more than half a century there, Bruiser.
But been that long, really.
It has, yes. I maintain it's because those aliens are up there playing football and they called next. We just never get next in there so that we can take over. Yeah. But NASA's Artemis program is going to send them back with a series of missions beginning in early September when the first astronaut plants her boots in the lunar soil in 2025. See, I told you Mrs. Bruiser was going. As part of Artemis 3, that is 3. 1, 2, 3 lines is 3. Assuming the current schedule holds, it'll be the start of an even more ambitious project than sending humans back to the moon. NASA plans to construct a base camp somewhere among the gray dust and craggy rocks of the moon's south pole. This lunar outpost will allow the Artemis missions to eventually shatter Apollo 17's record for longest stay on the moon, which is 74 hours, 59 minutes, and 38 seconds. Somebody was timing it. While serving as a jumping-off point for in-depth exploration. NASA says the camp is going to start small, only facilitating missions of a week or two. But as the camp grows in size and sophistication, the agency hopes to sustain crews for up to 2 months at a time. Current plans call for a lunar cabin, an open-top rover similar to the kind used in the Apollo missions, and something akin to an RV that would provide mobility while allowing astronauts to live and work away from the base for days or weeks at a time. Do you really want to be away from base camp for that long?
No, I don't think you see. In my head, I just go the ultimate, like Apollo 13 bad. You know what I mean? Something fails, and you're, how many miles away from base camp.
They're saying that the new suits that they're providing for these astronauts allow you to breathe for up to 6 days if something goes wrong in the capsule.
Okay.
On the way
But still, first of all, I don't know how the navigation would work up there because I don't know. Is there a magnetic field? So, do you have a compass? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
You just look for your tracks and follow those back. That worries me. They're gone from base camp for that long.
Yeah, well, you still have winds up there, so I got to think that those tracks get erased pretty easy.
Oh, yeah, but there's still footprints and stuff up there. How come they're not gone?
Aliens? I don't know. I got no good answer. On each, aliens are up there rubbing them out of the sand.
Stop messing up our moon. We wanted it clean. We're playing a game of golf up here. You gotta rake the trap. Rake the trap every time you play through.
On each new trip, astronauts are going to have an increasing level of comfort with the capabilities to explore and study more of the moon than ever before, said Kathy Luters, Associate Administrator for Human Spaceflight at NASA. In a statement, she said, with more demand for access to the moon, we are developing the technologies to achieve an unprecedented human and robotic presence 240,000 miles from home. So a robot can kill you 240,000 miles from home.
Haven't they seen the movie Alien?
I don't think that
the robot goes crazy in Alien.
It does, yeah. Our experience on the moon this decade will prepare us for an even greater adventure in the universe, which is human exploration of Mars. So this is basically a training group.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, it worries me about Mars, too, because it's even further away. At least with the moon, we've had rescue missions to the moon.
Yeah, yeah.
We haven't had any rescue missions to Mars yet.
Well, and it'd be almost impossible. By the time you send out a beacon, everybody's dead.
Yeah, that's true, because it's so far away. Yeah.
Central to NASA's vision for the Artemis base camp is finding and extracting resources from the moon itself. This will lighten the load of rockets blasting off from Earth with supplies and potentially allow astronauts to remain on the moon for longer periods of time. These resources may include water, ice, oxygen, metals, or building materials made from lunar dust or rocks. Since the Artemis program's introduction in 2019, its timeline has stretched out a bit. The original plan was to set up the first iteration of the base camp by 2030, but an internal planning document obtained by the outlet Ars Technica suggests that it may be more like 2034. That might seem like a long way off, but around the world, teams of scientists and engineers are already hard at work to make the dream of humans living on the moon a reality. It says here that the Smithsonian Magazine talked to some of these experts and learned 4 things about the Artemis moon base. And here they are. We'll just go over them quickly. NASA will seek out crucial resources at the lunar South Pole site. Like what? Like rocks. Because that's all they've got up there is rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine, although they said they found some water up there. I don't know what
we know what that means. If there's water, there's life.
Yeah, they say that they found evidence of water ice up there. If this frozen water turns out to be accessible and plentiful, it will be hugely valuable for residents of Artemis Base Camp for supplying flights back to Earth or onto Mars. Water can also fuel space travel because it can be turned into propellant. So that's what they're saying there. A new rover will let astronauts explore the moon without leaving base camp, they're saying. The Lunar Terrain Vehicle will be the first big step towards establishing a base camp. It is scheduled to arrive on a mission sometime after Artemis 3 in 2025. Astronauts will be able to explore the moon without spacesuits, they're claiming.
Really?
I guess. They said while the LTV's autonomy and remote-controlled capabilities are powerful innovations, its fundamental design isn't likely to deviate much from the rovers that have come before it. To drive the open-top LTV, astronauts need to don their spacesuits, and that's where NASA's concept for a lunar mobile home enters wholly uncharted territory from an engineering standpoint. NASA's RV-like concept, dubbed the Habitable Mobility Platform, will have a pressurized interior with life support systems, meaning passengers can safely ride inside without spacesuits on. This makes life easier for the astronauts, as putting on a spacesuit can take hours and isn't always comfortable. And it also means that crewed forays across the lunar surface can last longer and travel farther than ever before. In unpressurized rovers like the LTV, mission duration is limited by how long the oxygen in each astronaut's spacesuit lasts. So that'd be interesting. Although, what do you do in an emergency?
I was going to say, if it takes hours to put a suit on, what happens if a track goes out or they hit something or they break down? Like, do they have to do hours to get into the suit? Are they going to make the suits faster to get into?
They've got to be.
You know what I mean? Like, are they already prepped? When maybe at the base they're not prepped, but when they're on the rover, the RV rover, they're prepped already?
I guess. I don't know.
Or you're half dressed? The other question I have is, have we ever found out what the moon's made of? Have we drilled to the core yet or no?
It's cheese.
But I was gonna
and that's why they're bringing a giant fondue kit up to the moon.
I was going to say maybe that's where the water is coming from, but I like your idea better.
Yeah, and then they're bringing a lot of crackers. So, yeah, and wine. So it's going to be a wine, cheese, and cracker party up at the moon. Yeah.
They're going to open their own vineyard up there, I heard.
That's right, yeah. So it'll be wonderful.
Skyline Vineyards. That's what they're going to call it.
Yeah. How about Horizon Vineyards? Because you can look out and see the horizon of the Earth.
I like that.
Yeah. It's kind of nice, isn't it? And number 4, moon rocks and lunar dust could shape the base's camp appearance. The lunar cabin seems poised to capture the imaginations of the world as science fiction has been conjuring what dwellings in space might look like for generations. I don't know anybody who'd want to live on the moon.
No. I really have no intention of going to space.
Yeah.
That just, Hollywood's ruined it for me. It's too scary.
I think so. While the design has not been finalized, Chavers, guy who they interviewed, says NASA is looking at modular and inflatable structures. Oh, good. That's nice and sturdy.
We're going to have a bunch of bouncy houses.
Yes,
on the
I want to
moon.
live in a bouncy castle on the moon. That sounds like a 4-year-old designed that.
Mommy, I want to live on a bouncy castle on the moon.
That sounds like Elmo.
Elmo wants to live on a bouncy castle on the moon.
So inflatable structures as ways of creating larger habitable spaces on the moon that are compact and lightweight in transit. So you can fly away and join somebody on Saturn. Another intriguing possibility Chavers mentioned is large-scale 3D printer that uses moon dust or rock as its raw material. He says a machine like this could manufacture bricks or other shapes and either assemble a dwelling from scratch or augment one brought from Earth. This just sounds weird.
This is so... They don't know what they're doing. They're just throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
I think so. Indeed, Chavers says a 3D printer prototype is currently building a test structure in Houston.
Doesn't 3D printers take forever to print just one little thing?
Evidently not the new industrial ones.
Okay.
Yeah. Clive Neal, a geologist from the University of Notre Dame, we call it Notre Dame here in the States, who has studied lunar dust samples, says moon dust or rock may have an especially key role to play in shielding astronauts from radiation from cosmic rays and solar flares. Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field filter out most of this harmful radiation, but the moon has no atmosphere and no magnetosphere, so any humans lingering there need extra protection. Neil says up to 6 feet of lunar material may be required to provide astronauts sufficient protection from radiation, which at high doses can increase a person's risk of developing cancer. I can't think it's safe to live up there.
No, they're going to come back with 4 arms.
Well, I would think you would die of cancer before you get the 4 arms, Bruiser. I'm just
talking
thinking
2025, 2035. Like, they're going to come back with 4 arms.
Yeah.
3 eyes, 2 mouths.
I think before they become a mutant, I think you've read one too many comics. I think.
No, if I read you can tell I read too many comics and I say, oh, Tim, guess what? They're going to bring a symbiote back with them. And all of a sudden we're going to have a Venom on our planet.
We're going to have a bunch of Fantastic Fours running around from all the cosmic rays that imbue these people.
Yeah.
No, I think
so. They have to be in their spacesuits then 24/7 if that's what guards them from the radiation.
You would think.
Yeah,
but
if they have to have 6 feet, and this is right at the question: how do they come up with 6 feet as the number? That the radiation can only affect you, up to 6 feet.
Well, they're probably just thinking shielding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like none of this sounds exciting to me. I mean, it's exciting because it's a step forward in progress, and we're achieving new things, and we're going back to the moon. But like, I worry, man. Apollo 13 sticks out in my head.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was a routine thing. That was the 13th mission of the Apollo series.
Lucky number 13.
Tom Hanks saved us.
Well, I don't think it was Tom Hanks at the time, but in the movie, sure. But yeah, I in real life, I don't think it was Tom Hanks.
It wasn't. No. I digress.
Yeah.
Hollywood's really influenced me on this.
I guess, right? Yeah. We'll go to Texas now, where there's less to worry about as far as radiation goes, or is there? I'm kidding. UFO sighting or drones? Strange lights are captured in the Texas sky. We go to Round Rock, Texas, where mysterious lights were spotted Thursday night north of Austin over Brushy Creek and Cat Hollow. I love the names in Texas.
I do too.
Yeah.
There's some interesting ones around here too. Like you can tell that something like there's one around here. It's called Dead French Woman Basin.
That was probably named after a real dead French woman.
That's what I told my wife. I go, what probably happened was a French woman probably died here, and they're just too lazy. Well, let's just call it Dead French Woman Basin. Like, don't use her name. It's a dead French woman.
Her name may be Alouette, but screw it. Yeah. It's a dead French woman basin.
Dead French woman.
Yeah.
I'll take a picture next time, post it online for everyone to see. It's just, there's so many roads, and I feel that way about Texas too. You said it's what, Cat's Hollow?
Brushy Creek and Cat Hollow.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, there's a cat over there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Video was sent to Fox 7 by Gus McGivern. He was out walking with his friend Kyle Gomez near Cat Hollow in Round Rock. The quote here from Kyle Gomez is, "In real life, when you see it, it's a lot brighter than it actually is." He must tell that to all his girlfriends. Emily White says she and a friend were near Brushy Creek, close to Cedar Park at the time. They also recorded a video clip of the lights. It was mesmerizing, honestly. It was so silent because it was one light. Then I would have maybe thought, oh, a helicopter, a plane, something like that. But there was so many of them together, said White. Fox 7 asked White if she wondered if he was... Wait, let me do that again. Fox 7 asked White if she wondered if she was having a close encounter. I'll be honest, kind of. I don't know if I believe in all that, but I don't know. Maybe. I hear a lot of it in like America that kind of thing happens. Where does she think she lives if not in America?
She's in Texas.
I guess. I think it's just because of like it didn't make any noise at all, which I just thought was really odd. But yeah, definitely felt like it was kind of the alien invasion or something on the way. Said
this girl sounds drunk.
I think so. I think she's had one too many big Texas margaritas. Gus McGivern and Kyle Gomez were also left with questions. McGivern said, I've never believed in UFOs or anything like that, but I mean, I might now. I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, it smacked him in the goddamn face. How do you not believe?
I was going to say.
How do you not believe? The UFOs may have actually been UAVs or unmanned aerial vehicles, it goes on to say. I would have to say there's nothing extraterrestrial involved with this, but I am not to say that couldn't have been a possibility, said drone expert Gene Robinson. Robinson, who lives in Wimberley, trains drone pilots and flies several types of UAV platforms. He reviewed the video, which was sent to Fox 7. My initial take on this is that it is very likely a drone-based phenomenon. Oh, that's this button right here. Phenomenon. Yeah, there you go. At one point, the lights in one video clip zoomed off. Some people assumed that what was in the air was projected by a laser. Friggin' lasers there.
Like a laser show.
A laser. There were sharks with lasers on their heads. But Robinson noted that it doesn't seem like there was anything for a laser to reflect off of. That's pretty unlikely, so I'm thinking that this may be someone testing their do-it-yourself drone swarms, said Robinson. There's a lot of those in Texas, I guess.
Yeah. That's the latest craze. Instead of fireworks, you do drone swarms.
I guess. A drone swarm is a big light show, according to Robinson. They started taking flight about 2 years ago. Drone swarms can fill the sky like those that flew over Shanghai in 2020. Galveston had one for a 4th of July event. In March at SXSW, a drone swarm generated a lot of buzz. Get it? Swarm buzz. Pretty much expect this to be the future of nightlight shows. Not nightlight, but night light shows. Get it? Is these drones going to be swarmed in as we've seen in 100 or 200 or 300 drones, said Robinson. Gus and Kyle, after watching the Skyfox drone fly Friday afternoon, say what they saw was probably UAVs, but are not totally dismissing the UFO idea either. It was mesmerizing, honestly. It was so silent, said White. The FAA requires a waiver to fly at night, especially in a swarm configuration. Officials with the agency say that they are checking to see if a waiver was granted for something like that. Round Rock police say they did not get any calls about the lights. So there you go.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the FAA comes back with a permit, because it's feasible. It could have been a swarm.
Yeah.
But if there's no permit on file, I'm not saying that someone's not illegally doing it, but kind of adds to the case that if it's not, there's nothing on file, that it could have been something extraterrestrial.
True.
Could also be something military.
That's very true as well.
Because they don't have to report that kind of stuff when they're training and stuff.
That's right. That's right. Speaking of the government, Bruiser, UFO lobbyists is making a quest to prove to the government that alien life exists. Stephen Bassett spent a quarter century on a mission to make the White House and Congress take the issue of extraterrestrials seriously. I'm trying to find a good place to kind of shorten this article here because it is kind of a long article, but essentially, Stephen Bassett, actually, I'll take the quote here from Andre Carson, the Democratic congressman from Indiana who chairs the House Intelligence Subcommittee that had organized the event. He told the audience, for too long, the stigma associated with UAPs has gotten in the way of good intelligence analysis. He said, today we know better. UAPs are unexplained. It's true, but they are real. For Bassett, this first public congressional hearing on UFOs is more than 50 years was a milestone. As DC's first registered UFO lobbyist, he'd spent more than a quarter century pleading for lawmakers and the administration to stop snickering at the issue. Yet he's watched official Washington finally take the topic seriously. An uneasy feeling struck him. He says it's that anxiety that you get when you're getting close to the finish line, he says, but it's still not clear that it's a done deal. Though long dismissed as the delusions of science fiction, UFOs have emerged as a serious subject in the nation's capital. Over the past 5 years, the Navy has begun establishing a more formal reporting process for pilots who spot mysterious objects in the sky. Intelligence agencies have publicly documented 144 cases of unidentified aircraft, and both the Department of Defense and NASA have launched efforts to help make sense of it all. Federal intelligence officials have no explanation for the vast majority of the sightings, and some are concerned that the strange objects could be advanced technology developed by adversaries such as Russia or China. But while encouraged that Congress was willing to hold a public hearing, Bassett is far from satisfied. The government, he insists, is still sitting on far bigger secrets, and he won't stop pushing for answers until the White House makes a complete disclosure. What is disclosure, he says? Well, the President of the United States will publicly confirm the extraterrestrial presence is in fact real and that we are not alone in the universe. Bassett got into UFO activism 26 years earlier during a period of personal despair after earning a physics degree from what's now called Eckerd College in St. Petersburg, Florida. In 1970, he began bouncing from one job to the next. He went from EPA official to tennis pro to business consultant. While struggling to find his life's purpose by the 1990s, he was 49 years old, unmarried, and unhappy. You realize if you don't do something provocative, he says, you're just going to fade away and you'll be gone. It was around that time that Bassett read a canonical work of UFO research, Abduction by John Mack. Bassett had long maintained a peripheral interest in the subject of extraterrestrials, devouring science fiction as a child and following stories of alien contact that occasionally popped up in the media. But it wasn't until he reviewed the numerous accounts of supposed alien encounters explored by Mack, a Harvard psychiatry professor and Pulitzer Prize-winning author, that he decided to pursue the subject more seriously. He secured a volunteer position within Mack's organization, the Program for Extraordinary Experience Research, and in 1996 set off on the more than 3,000-mile drive from his home in San Luis Obispo, California, to its headquarters in Boston. Along the way, Bassett stopped in at Roswell, New Mexico, site of the famous 1947 crash that left metallic wreckage of something. Some say it was a weather balloon. Others insist it was a UFO littered across a ranch. He recalls that he says, I'm realizing there are massive secrets out there in the possession of our U.S. government that have been contained from us after seeing the site out there at Roswell. After arriving in Boston in early 1996, Bassett took a desk in the development office of the Program for Extraordinary Experience Research. He grew increasingly frustrated that journalists, government officials, and academics continued to laugh off extraterrestrials despite everything that he'd read. The citizen activists of the UFO community, he argued, had obtained enough material to prove the extraterrestrial presence 10 times over. The problem, he concluded, wasn't a lack of scientific research. Rather, it was the federal government's refusal to release evidence he was sure it possessed that it would confirm once and for all that aliens were real. So in the fall of 96, Bassett submitted his official lobbying registration forms with Congress, which noted that he'd be pressing for public hearings on UFO issues, as well as formal acknowledgement by the U.S. government of an extraterrestrial presence. He then established a fundraising enterprise, the Extraterrestrial
Phenomena
Political Action Committee, or XPAC. I believe you once wrestled XPAC, didn't you?
I've been on many shows with XPAC.
There you go. To provide citizens with a long-needed vehicle to direct their concerns to government in unambiguous, unavoidable terms regarding the cover-up of UFO and ET evidence. With his DC credentials in hand, Bassett did what any other influence peddler would do. He began working to line up meetings with congressional offices. But Bassett, of course, wasn't just another lobbyist. The overwhelming majority of congressional offices had no interest in discussing aliens with him, and the few meetings he did secure were with junior staffers or interns. Not even Stephen Schiff, the New Mexico representative who once called for a federal inquiry into the government's response to the Roswell incident, would make time for him. He says, "We have instituted what we refer to as the, quote, no UFO media diet," the congressman's spokesman told a Legal Times journalist who was writing about Bassett in 1997. It soon dawned on Bassett that this ridicule curtain would make it impossible for him to engage in the sort of grip and grin lobbying that traditional K Street operators practice, so he decided to shift tactics. Instead of directly lobbying officials on Capitol Hill, he began working to reach them through the media. You want to get into an issue on Congress? He said, get it in the Washington Post. So then he began working to try and get to them through the media. Nevertheless, Bassett was always sure he was on the brink of convincing Washington to wake up to the reality of extraterrestrials. He would say, no, I think this is the year. I think this is the year we're going to get this done, says Daniel Sheehan, a public interest lawyer who has done work on UFO-related matters. There was this existential dimension to his approach that he could sort of will this into happening. It was a solitary mission. Bassett is single. He has no children. His closest confidants are other UFO devotees he sees at conferences or chats with on message boards. Says Bassett, they're my family, I guess you could say. Fellow UFO enthusiasts marveled at Bassett's persistence despite his being ridiculed, rejected, and ignored over more than 2 decades.
Jeez. I like how they keep pointing out he's single.
Yeah, well, a guy like this doesn't exactly pull chicks, I guess.
I guess not, but I give him credit for being as dedicated as he is. He's gone through a lot, and he's still single, ladies.
That's right. He did get a small inheritance from his aunt when she died, but Bassett's work doesn't generate any income. He has no other job.
Oh, well, that's not good.
No.
And he's single, ladies.
Without the means to pay for housing, he spent the past 25 years living with family members or surviving off the generosity of supporters, UFO advocates who provide him with cash or a place to stay. That was the thing that amazed me the most, says UFO researcher Grant Cameron. Most people would just get up and say, I've got to make a living here. He never did, and he never gave up.
There's got to be a point in time where you're like, okay, I got to figure out a way to make money, but still be the advocate that he is.
Right. So where does this go, you may ask? Well, he kept going in an effort to pressure Washington to confirm the existence of aliens. Bassett is launching a new endeavor. He's still going. He's teamed up with a Hollywood production company to create a streaming web series featuring interviews and commentary about UFOs and extraterrestrials. In the series, which at press time was scheduled to be released in July, I don't think it's been released since.
Yeah, I don't think it's come out. We would have heard about it.
Bassett interviews prominent figures in the UFO community from studios in Glendale, California, and the National Press Building in D.C. It's his hope, that this exposure he receives from the project will open doors for him in Congress. It is going to get me access to individuals and also probably much more media coverage, Bassett says. And it eventually gets to the point where, okay, people are going to take your phone calls and they're going to take your meetings. Should this increased lobbying clout materialize, Bassett intends to keep putting pressure on Congress to hold additional hearings on UFOs. If these hearings are held relatively close together, not weeks and weeks apart, the president could be in a position to kind of end this truth embargo during the summer. Well, we're at the end of summer now. Months before the midterm election, he says, this is what could happen. This is what should happen. I don't know.
How is he not part of the committee that the government formed?
I don't know. That's a good question.
You know what I mean? Like, he would be one of the first calls I make if I'm forming a committee, because he's been advocating since, 96, I think it said?
Yeah, 96 or 97. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't get why he's not a part of that committee.
No idea. Tell you what, when we come back, and speaking of pain and mental anguish, when we come back, we'll talk about a padlocked vampire grave found in Poland with a sickle over its neck. Scientists are talking about immortal jellyfish being the secret to eternal life. You just want to keep living this pain over and over again like Mr. Bassett has. We'll talk about that kind of pain. Also, you want to talk pain. A tri-state man has woken up from a coma after getting stung by 20,000 bees, or stung 20,000 times by bees.
Oh, that'll leave a mark.
When we come back, more of the best in supernatural news and Parashare coming up on the best in Paranormal Talk Radio. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis. It's a supernatural news and Parashare Wednesday. With me is the co-host with the most. It's the BCB, the big cuddly bear, Beer City Bruiser. I can't talk today, Bruiser.
You're just getting all jumbled.
I need a sip of something. I'm just, I'm all tongue-tied, my friend. I ain't got it in me like I used to.
Brain work, mouth don't.
That's right. Brain work, mouth don't. Very sad indeed. What's the worst nightmare you would have for the grave besides being trapped alive?
Oh, besides being trapped alive?
Yeah.
That's probably the worst. I don't know what else could be worse than that. Just being buried alive, because I'm claustrophobic.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah.
But being buried alive is just an absolute... I'm sweating now just thinking about it. Like, I could not be buried alive. That'd be terrible. I guess being buried without a headstone would probably be the next thing, so you're not remembered.
Yeah, that's true. I've never thought of that.
Yeah, that would be terrifying too.
Yeah. Good one. I would think the other one for me is not being complete. I would think, like having the head
half of you's over here and half of you's over there.
Yeah, like someone just took my body apart and threw it in different places.
Yeah, that would be creepy too.
Yeah, that's one. I got a story here about a padlocked vampire grave found in Poland with a sickle over its neck. Evidently, somebody thought this was a bloodsucker, and they didn't want it rising from the grave.
Yeah, they knew if it was going to rise, it would cut its own head off.
That's right. So
the padlock would hold it in.
That's right. They were taking extra steps to make sure that this thing wasn't going anywhere.
Well, they used to do that back in the day. If you think about it, remember they used to sell the old vampire hunting kits, and then you always hear about stories of they opening up graves and there'd be bodies with stakes in the heart or the head missing.
Yep.
So this is just another precaution to prevent those bloodsuckers from rising up at night.
That's right. Archaeologists from the Torun Nicholas Copernicus University. Boy, how would you love to have to cheer for that team? Go Torun Nicholas Copernicus University.
I'm just going to say, hey, go Nick.
Yeah, go Nick. Go Nick.
Go Nick.
Have found a grave from the 18th century containing a female vampire buried with a sickle over the neck to protect her ascension to vampirism. I say let her come suck on me for a while. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I mean, depending on what she looks like. I'm a vain guy. If I'm gonna let a female vampire suck on me, she's got to be cute.
Yeah, but she could use her vampire powers to make you think she's cute.
Yeah, that's true, right?
She could hypnotize you. She could look like me. And be like, "Oh, Tim, I want to suck your blood." And you'd be like, "Yes, baby, please suck my blood."
Yeah, girl. Wait a minute.
Get it, girl.
Get it, girl. Wait a minute. You kind of look like Bruiser. Wait a minute.
I'm just curious, why did they stake her, cut her head off before they buried her? Like, they're going to give her a fighting chance, and they said to put a sickle over her?
That's true. You have a good point there.
Yeah.
Let's read on and find out.
Let's do it.
The concept of a blood-sucking spirit or demon-consuming human flesh has been told in the mythology and folktales of almost every civilization throughout the centuries. One of the earliest vampiric depictions stems from cuneiform texts by the is that Akkadians? My eyes are playing tricks on me. Akkadians, yes. Sumerians, Assyrians, and Babylonians when they referred to demonic figures as the Lilu and...
Stitch.
Yes, and Stitch. Yes, you got it. Stitch.
Lilu and Stitch.
Lilu and Lidu. Yeah, and Stitch. During these... God. During the late 17th and 18th centuries, the folklore for vampires, as we imagine, became rampant in the verbal traditions and the lore of many European ethnic groups. Meanwhile, there's an ad in between the paragraphs that says, "That's what I do. I fix stuff and I know things." So evidently whoever staked her knew things and fixed stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were described as the revenants of evil beings, suicide victims, witches, corpses possessed by a malevolent spirit, or the victim of a vampiric attack. During the 18th century, vampire sightings across Eastern Europe had reached its peak, very frequent exhumations, and the practice of staking to kill potential revenants. This period was commonly referred to as the 18th century vampire controversy, which is a great album name. I think Guns N' Roses actually came out with it recently.
I was going to say that's a 1980s hair band album.
It is, yeah. Archaeologists found the burial near by... Boy, is that a name of a city. By Dogus in city in northern Poland. We'll just put it that way.
Our Polish listeners are going to be so mad at you right now.
Yeah. Oh, they won't know. They can't even hardly turn on a device. They try to listen to podcasts through their actual dial-up rotary phone. They think their podcasts are on their landlines. Yeah.
They're picking up P-pods,
yep.
Listening to those.
Yeah, they're picking up P-pods trying to get the podcast. An anthropological study revealed that she had protruding front teeth, suggesting that her appearance may have led superstitious locals in the 17th century to brand her a witch or vampire. So she had bad dental work.
Yeah, did anybody have good dental work back then?
No. In fear of her ascension, a sickle was placed around her neck while a padlock was tied to the toe of her left foot.
What, wait. So what does that padlock do? Oh, you can't kick.
Yeah.
You're going to have a hard time putting shoes on.
Maybe she had a long nail on her left foot. I don't know.
I was going to say, I thought when you said padlocked, I was assuming the coffin was padlocked.
No.
No, just her left toe.
Just the toe on her left foot. Referring to the sickle, Professor Darius Polinsky from Nicholas Copernicus University, which sounds like a really bad school. It like
does.
National University. So it'd be Nicholas Copernicus University. And you'd get your accounting degree from there in Poland.
Hey, my wife got her accounting degree. From
Nicholas Copernicus University?
No, but I'm going to tell her to go get her bachelor's from there.
You know what your accounting degree in Poland would be like?
They continue to use abacus. No, they'd probably start spelling numbers or spelling like letters because they think it's accounting is spelling.
These are really bad Polish jokes.
These are horrible Polish jokes.
They really are. Yeah.
It was coming out of my mouth. I'm like, yeah, that's not funny.
Yeah. Well, we tried.
Just like they did.
Yeah, just like they did. Darius Polinsky explained that the position would have decapitated the individual should they try to rise from the grave. Despite the morbid nature of the grave, the woman was buried with a silk cap upon her head, which was a luxury commodity in the 17th century, suggesting that the deceased held a high social status.
So they wanted to make sure she was comfortable when she beheaded herself and when she rose from the grave. And just annoyed by having a padlock on her toe.
So she was important, but yeah, you're going to die a horrible death if you bury it up. How important
was she, though?
Previous burials have been found in Poland showing anti-vampiric customs, such as several skeletons with several skeletons with severed heads unearthed in Krakow, or a burial in Pomorski, I believe, which had a brick forced in the mouth. However, this is a first example in Poland where a sickle had been positioned to prevent ascension to vampirism.
They don't explain the padlock at all, do they?
No, not why it's on the toe. No.
If there's any listeners out there, please let us know what's the point of the padlock on the toe. I gotta know. I want to know what the Polish thinking is behind this.
Maybe they couldn't give her a proper manicure. I have no idea. Or pedicure. Yeah, it just is no way to give pedicure.
You will not wear shoes. No more shoes for you.
We don't have
Russian. Why did we go Russian with that?
Because it was really close to the Russian border. There's no way to give you proper pedicure, so we put padlock on you. No one should see this big toe. Too much fungus. There's no way to do.
Oh, thank you, Poland.
We move on, and of course we move on with this. Now they're taking over our state fairs, Bruiser. Yeah, I know. An AI what?
Did they murder a 7-year-old?
Yes.
Instead of just breaking their fingers, now they're murdering them.
They murdered a 7-year-old over cotton candy at the state fair. That is mine. That is mine. I love the taste of cotton candy. Give me more.
I should have won the blue ribbon. My pig was perfect.
I baked a perfect pie. Who doesn't love computer chip pie?
I ate 14.2 hot dogs. I won.
Fuck you, Joey Chestnut. You must die. An AI-generated artwork won first place at a state fair fine arts competition, and artists are pissed.
Well, I would be too. Now, granted, it was probably a bunch of 4-year-old artists.
It probably was, yeah.
Mommy, why did the computer win?
I thought I drew a good cow.
Jason Allen's AI-generated work, Theatre d'Opera Spatiale, took first place in the digital category at the Colorado State Fair.
Well, that's not even fair.
Well, everybody else was high.
Yeah. Like the digital, make it paint something or sculpt something.
Well, it kind of did. It painted.
Digitally, that's not painting.
A man came in first at the Colorado State Fair's fine art competition using an AI-generated artwork on Monday. I won first place, a user going by Sincarnate said in a Discord post above photos of the AI-generated canvases hanging at the fair.
Please tell me it was the AI that was making pictures of us and the apocalypse. What we'd look like if VR took over.
Well, I'll show
Remember
you.
the last 2 weeks we had those articles?
Yeah. I'll show you a picture. It just looks like somebody standing in front of a huge portal. It's actually very good.
That is actually very good.
Yeah.
Do you know what that looks like? That looks like, when you watch The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, and at the end they show you the test pictures? That's what that looks like.
Yeah, it does. It's very good.
Yeah. It is very good. I just don't think it should have won.
Well, it did. I mean, because the judges evidently are blind in Colorado, but
well, yeah, they're high.
They're high. Dude, that is so good for a computer, man.
Look at the colors, dude.
Dude, this is going to blow your mind, but check it out. How does a computer paint with no hands, man? Dude, first place, dude.
If the computer drew it, does that mean we get to look at it?
This is all I want to know, man.
If I program the computer, am I drawing it or is the computer drawing it?
Dude, how does a computer know what a portal looks like?
I wonder where that portal goes, man.
I bet you it goes to the other side. Wait a minute. Does the computer know what Jesus looks like?
Oh, man.
Syncarnate's name is Jason Allen, who's president of Colorado-based tabletop gaming company Incarnate Games. According to the State Fair's website, he won in the digital art category with a work called... This isn't even fair.
No, this isn't fair at all.
He works for a video game company.
Yeah, so his job is to create worlds.
Yeah. He won in the digital art category with a work called Théâtre d'Opéra Spécial. The image, which Allen printed on canvas for submission, he printed it. Oh, son of a bitch.
That's just like hitting print screen on your computer.
Yeah, yeah. Is gorgeous. And, well, it is pretty nice.
It is. It's amazing. Yeah. It is. It's literally something that I would see in a video game.
Yeah.
It's like a cutscene between, this game and this game.
You described it beautifully by saying it looks like an outtake from The Mandalorian on the end credits. Yeah. And it looks like a masterfully done painting. Classical figures in a Baroque hall staring through a circular viewport into a sun-drenched and radiant landscape. I would say they're looking into a portal, but...
So Mrs. Bruiser heard us talking about artwork and AI. She decided that she was going to do some artwork for the State Fair, too.
Oh, look at that. That's a cow, but it's not laying down saying it's going to rain.
No, it's not going to rain.
No, yeah. But Alan...
She's intelligent, so...
Yeah, I like it. You know what? It's better than what AI did.
Exactly. She did that.
Yeah, exactly. I think it should win a blue ribbon.
I agree.
But Alan did not paint Théâtre d'Opéra Spécial. AI software called Midjourney did. It used his prompts, but Alan did not wield a digital brush. The distinction has caused controversy on Twitter, where working artists and enthusiasts accused Alan of hastening the death of creative jobs.
I agree.
Drama much? TLDR. Someone entered an art competition with an AI-generated piece and won the first prize. Artist Janelle Jumalon said in a viral tweet about Alan's win. Yeah,
Came in second.
What's that?
She came in second.
Yeah, she came in second. The quote here is, and cover your ears, kids, because I'm about to use blue language. The quote is, yeah, that's pretty fucking shitty.
said like an artist.
Yep. That's an artist right there. Quote, we are watching the death of artistry unfold before our eyes, a Twitter user going by Omnimorpho said in a reply that gained over 2,000 likes. If creative jobs aren't safe from machines, then even high-skilled jobs are in danger of becoming obsolete. What will we have then? Oh my God, it's dripping. It's dripping with not sarcasm, but it's dripping with emotion.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's oozing with machismo.
I like that. Oozing with machismo.
Thank you, Razor Ramon.
Thank you, Razor. I knew this would be controversial, Alan said in the Midjourney Discord server on Tuesday. Then why did you do it? How interesting is it to see how all of these people on Twitter who are against AI-generated art are the first ones to throw the human under the bus by discrediting the human element? What human element?
There is no human element. You hit a bunch of buttons and the machine did all the work.
Yeah. Does this seem hypocritical to you guys? No. Motherboard reached out to Alan, who replied that he was embarking on a 12-hour drive and could not immediately comment. Why don't you take your hands off the Tesla wheel, put it in auto drive, let it drive the car for you and answer your tweet?
Or pull over at a rest stop and answer.
And answer. According to Allen, his input was instrumental to the shaping of the award-winning painting. He said, I have been exploring a special prompt that I will be publishing at a later date. I have created hundreds of images using it, of course, because you don't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a nerd that pushes buttons.
Yeah. And after many weeks of fine-tuning and curating my gens, it says here, I chose my top 3 and had then printed on canvas after unshackling with gigapixel AI. He wrote in a post before the winners were announced.
Then he went home alone and cried into his pillow.
What a chode.
Yeah.
I bet you he jerks off into a sock every night.
With the pictures that he puts in the AI.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Alan,
I want to see boobies. Can you make boobies? Boobies.
I made AI boobies so I could jerk off. Alan said that his critics are judging the art by the method of its creation and that eventually the art world would recognize AI-created art as its own category. What if we looked at it from the other extreme? What if an artist made a wildly difficult and complicated series of restraints in order to create a piece? Say they made their art while hanging upside down and being whipped while painting. Well, then that's art, you idiot.
Yeah, they made it. They used their hand to create it.
Yeah.
Michelangelo was laying on his back when he painted the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah.
They made it. He didn't make anything.
Yeah. Should this artist's work be evaluated differently than any other artist that created the same piece normally? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I know
I really want to meet this guy in a bar sometime.
Yeah, and punch him in the mouth.
Nerd.
Listen here, button nerd. I know what will
munch.
I know what will become of this in the end. They're simply going to create an artificial intelligence art category, I imagine, for things like this. Yes, they will, yes. Because it's not real art.
Because of butt munches like you.
Yeah, it was generated by a machine.
And all you lonely guys can get together afterwards and sip your tea and look at your Pokemon Go and go, let's just see what my robot created.
Artists are concerned about the rise of AI-generated art. Atlantic writer Charlie Wartzel went viral after running an edition of the magazine's newsletter with a Mid-Journey generated picture of Alex Jones.
Why him?
I don't know.
Let's take the most hated man in America at this moment and hey, paint a picture of him.
Call it fallacy. A major publication using AI for art instead of a human upset a lot of people. Technology is increasingly deployed to make gig jobs and to make billionaires richer, it says here. And so much of it doesn't seem to benefit the public good enough, cartoonist Matt Bors told Warzel in a follow-up piece. AI art is part of that. To developers and technically minded people, it's this cool thing, but to illustrators, it's very upsetting because it feels like you're eliminated the need to hire the illustrator. I agree with that. Yeah,
I agree with that too.
Allen said he clearly labeled his submission to the State Fair as Jason Allen via Midjourney, and once again noted the human element required to produce the work. There was no human element.
There was none.
You just program something into a computer.
And then hit print.
Yeah.
Hit print screen.
Yeah.
That's like saying right now I hit print screen on this and that I created art. Well, no, technically HP, who created this laptop and created the program, created the art.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, I generate images with MJ, do passes with Photoshop, and upscale with Gigapixel.
See, no.
No, that's not art. Despite the controversy, the win has only encouraged him. I'm not stopping now, he said. This win has only emboldened my mission.
He's going to get so beat up sometime.
Some artist is going to stab him with a paintbrush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Ghost stories. You want to hear a couple ghost stories?
Yes, I enjoy ghost stories.
We've been telling you these over the last few weeks, real ghost stories that will send shivers down your spine. We had, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last one we did was the Real Lady of Huntington Cottage. Did we tell you about the Ashley Street ghost?
I believe we said that one.
Yeah. The Ghost of Frederick Jordan, I believe, is the next one.
Okay.
This real-life ghost story concerns a man named Frederick Jordan, who held one of the most lonely and desolate jobs in existence. Jordan was the lighthouse keeper for Penfield Reef Lighthouse off the coast of Fairfield, Connecticut. Built in 1874, the lighthouse was primarily a way of warning ships of a treacherous hidden reef, responsible for more than its fair share of harbor incidents. In 1916, Frederick Jordan was the head lighthouse keeper. Tragically, he drowned in a boating accident just before Christmas of that year when he was caught in a gale while rowing home to see his family. Ever since then, lightning and equipment malfunctions in the lighthouse have been blamed on Jordan's spiritual presence. But even more chilling is that keepers of the Penfield Reef Lighthouse often find the lighthouse logbook open to the day that Jordan died. And locals have recounted witnessing an unidentifiable figure appearing on the water to help stray boats find their way to safety near the reef.
Ooh, I like lighthouse ghosts. Those are always interesting. Remember Ghost Hunters had that really good find in that lighthouse with someone looking over the edge and then running up the stairs?
Yep.
Yeah, lighthouse ghosts are very fascinating.
That's true. Here's another one, the ghosts who came to play. This true ghost story may strike you as more awe than eek, but only until you consider that we really have no idea what our four-legged friends can sense and what that we cannot. Can dogs see ghosts? Well, there are plenty of dog experts out there, including veterinarians, who will attest to the fact that there's lots of documentation that could support the notion that dogs can sense paranormal activity. As Jesus Aramendi, DVM, a senior veterinarian for Chewy, put it. And then there's the fact that this story came to Reader's Digest recently, or directly from a well-known psychic medium, Christy Robinette, who's a friend of the show.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Who has a strong record for using her ghost whispering skills to help detectives solve confounding cases. Marlene settled onto her side of the bed and patted Jack's pillow beside her, Robinette told Reader's Digest. A year had gone by, but Marlene was still adjusting to widowhood. Maybe it was crazy to think that after 40 years of marriage, she would ever adjust. Elmer the Golden Retriever seemed to understand this from the very first. That cold, moonless night when Marlene returned alone from the hospital, Elmer did something he'd never done before. He jumped up onto Jack's side of the bed and laid his head on the pillow. Jack would have never allowed it, Robinette pointed out, but Marlene didn't shoo him off. Instead, she lay down beside Elmer and let the peaceful sound of his snoring lull her to sleep. The next night was the same, and the night after that. Over the past year, it had grown into a comforting routine, but not tonight. Tonight was the first time Elmer had left Marlene alone in the bed since Jack's passing. But hearing nails clicking on the wood floor downstairs, Marlene recognized the sound of Elmer requesting outsies. With a sigh, Marlene made her way down the stairs to the foyer. But Elmer wasn't pacing in front of the big oak door. Rather, he was dancing and wagging and wiggling and bowing, just like he used to do when Jack would come home from work. To Marlene, it felt as if Jack had just come home. And Robinette, who is known for her remarkable intuition about these things, believes that is indeed what happened. So there you go.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
I like how she listened to the dog snore.
Yeah.
I do that with Ziggy. I'll listen to her snore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That puts you to sleep.
Yeah, it's very, very relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah. One last ghost story here for you today. The lost colony of Roanoke.
Ah, very famous.
Yeah. Roanoke Colony is one of the first European settlements in the United States, located on an island off the coast of what is now the state of North Carolina. I just felt like I had to do that for Kenny Omega. The colony was established in 1587 under the auspices of the first Queen Elizabeth. Soon after the colony's leader, John White, returned to England from where the settlers came. His trip was meant to be brief. He was only meant to grab supplies and return to the New World, but political upheaval in the form of England's war with Spain prevented White from returning until 1590. It was only 3 years, but a lot had changed when John White returned. In fact, the entire colony, consisting at the time of 115 people, including a newborn baby by the name of Virginia Dare, was gone, just up and vanished. All that was left was a post onto which the word Croatoan, had been carved. Croatoan referred to the name of a native tribe that had been on good terms with the settlers. So White thought the colonists had moved to Croatoan Island, now known as Hatteras, North Carolina. But they had not. It remains one of the most famous disappearances that no one can explain. What's more, there's never been any evidence to suggest the colony was massacred. Many believe that baby Virginia grew into a beautiful young woman, one who eventually fell into a doomed love affair with a native warrior by the name of, is it a Kisco?
Yes.
Okay. To this day, she haunts the woods in search of her man, often in the form of a diaphanous white deer, one that always vanishes at dawn. According to NCpedia, which is a state encyclopedia maintained by the North Carolina Government and Heritage Library, longtime residents of the island have no doubt that the identity of the phantom deer is the ghost of Virginia Dare. If you're itching for an explanation as to how an entire colony could just disappear, you're not alone. On the positive side, it's one of a handful of mysteries that could be solved in the next decade.
And if you ever really want to do a deep dive into down the rabbit hole, look up conspiracy theories of what happened to Roanoke. There's everything from that the natives slaughtered him and took the baby, and that's why she fell in love, to demonic possession, to God came down and brought them up to heaven with him. They just moved. I mean, you could spend hours reading the conspiracy theories behind Roanoke. I have. Yeah. It's one of my favorite urban legends. I wouldn't even call it urban legend. It's just one of my favorite legends. And now that I live in the state that it is, you better believe I'm going to go visit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a crazy story. Crazy story.
And again, I always bring it up, but Supernatural does a really good episode on the Croatoan with Roanoke. And then American Horror Story, Roanoke, is a fantastic season of American Horror Story, where they put their own spin on Roanoke, where they're vengeful spirits. It's really good.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. As you can tell, I'm kind of obsessed with Roanoke.
I think so. That's not a bad way to be, though. That's for sure.
No, it's not.
We move on. Paranormal investigations continue in Jeannette in advance of an October 8th ghost tour. Where are we going here? What state is this? I guess we'll find out. It says something about Westmoreland. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out together, kids. That's how we work this thing. Paranormal investigators are finding eerie evidence in some of Jeannette's buildings. Members of Truth Seekers paranormal researchers have been using specialized equipment at several downtown locations in preparation for an October 8th fundraiser for the Jeannette Historical Society and You Are Here Gallery.
You Are Here Gallery. Okay.
That's one way to know where you are. You are here.
Every map has that.
That's right. We're still going through the audio recordings and picking up things, Deb Costello said. The team is also compiling personal experiences and other research gleaned from the investigations. The Ghost Tour collaboration between the two organizations is a first of its kind in Jeannette. Participants will visit several locations around the city that have been investigated by paranormal researchers and learn about the history of each building. 2 tours have sold out, but organizers are considering adding a third, said Jen Costello, gallery co-founder, and Donna McCullough, Society Activities Director. There's a lot to be told about our town, and a lot of people are interested in ghost hunting, McCullough said. The city's fire station and the Glass City building will be sites of paranormal investigations this month in preparation for the event. Fire Chief Bill Fry said he and other firefighters have had odd experiences in the South 2nd Street building that dates back to 1927. They've reported unexplained noises and furniture in disarray, among other occurrences in the day room, kitchen, and sleeping quarters. A photograph was taken several years ago on a staircase at the Glass City Clay Avenue building, showed white shadows and only the arm of a person meant to be in the picture Investigators have found paranormal energy a few doors down in the Historical Society's building, which was at one time a florist and toy store, according to McCullough. Because we have so many artifacts in here, they could be picking up from that, she said. Other buildings have been investigated for the tour, include Perchetti's Restaurant on South 3rd Street, which was one time a hotel. You Are Here in the former Gillespie building, which is being renovated by Sobel's Brewery, both on Clay Avenue, and the library on McGee Avenue. Let's see, where is this?
Wherever Gillespie is, right? Or Jeanette?
It says Jeanette, but let's see if they refer to other Alleghenies, the Great Allegheny Passage. This must be in Pennsylvania.
So Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's got to be Pennsylvania.
Yeah. It's the only Allegheny I know.
Yeah, I got to think that's where it is. I got a story here that has to do with the super rich preppers planning to save themselves from the apocalypse. How much dry goods do you got stored there at the house?
We have a few. We actually went to the world's biggest knife store over the weekend, and they had just a prepper section.
Did they?
And a real good friend of mine, actually, Stacy Shadows. She's a prepper, and she always yells at us that we don't have it. So we have like the bare essentials.
They always say just in case something happens. You know, I think a lot of people were caught up in the pandemic.
Yeah.
When people were making runs on the grocery stores for certain things.
Yep.
I mean,
like
especially toilet paper. Yeah. People went nuts over toilet paper.
Which I don't get.
Yeah, I know. That's one of those odd things. They're like toilet paper.
I have a feeling it was like a joke. Like one of the preppers put that out as a joke, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's a prepper. We better do this."
Yeah, yeah. But there's certain things you should just have on hand just in case. Yeah. You should always have like at least 2 weeks to a month of dry goods.
Yeah, we have, like I said, the bare essentials. We have a bunch of dry goods. We have some canned goods that are good for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
We always have bottled water.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
First aid kits. We have tents, lanterns, flashlights, batteries. Yep. Yeah, we got all that.
But there are super rich preppers out there that are planning to save themselves from the apocalypse. I don't know that the apocalypse is, although, people say, I don't know that the apocalypse is coming soon, but if you ever look, there's a website out there that will tell you exactly where we are on the planet as far as color-coded danger signals. And I'm talking about overall. So if we're in code yellow, code red, and we're talking about world threats.
Right.
Okay. If you look at this thing on a daily basis, you'll drive yourself nuts.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
My belief is if you're looking for something, you will eventually find it. So if you're looking for signs of the apocalypse, you will eventually find them because your brain programs it. That's like if you think someone's cheating on you and you go through everything, you will find something because your brain programs you to find it.
And, recently we had, and I caught a very minimal amount of heat for having Kathy Stearman on from the FBI for True Crime Tuesday. But she said something very pertinent, and it's very true. If the American public knew, because a lot of people are saying, and again, we don't get political on the show, but a lot of people are saying, especially with the documents that were at Mar-a-Lago, they're saying, well, we have a right to know what's in those documents.
But do we want to know? That's the question.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Kathy said this on air, and it's very true. If you knew half the stuff that the FBI doesn't tell you, or the CIA doesn't tell you, or the Defense Department doesn't tell you, some of these top secret things, you wouldn't sleep at night.
Yeah. If you're out there looking for it, you will find it. And it's going to mess with your head.
And Kathy even says in her book, she believed after working at the FBI, and her book is very intriguing. It's called It's Not About the Gun. And I suggest people pick it up and read it. She says after just a short amount of time in the FBI as a legat, which is an overseas FBI head that works with the ambassador of that country. She doesn't know that there isn't anybody in this world that isn't trying to kill us.
Yeah, I believe that.
Including people within our country.
Yeah, I believe that too, yeah.
she's like, I think everybody's out to kill us.
Yeah.
And that's from, and she doesn't say why or how or who, just from the stuff that came across her desk. She said, I think everyone's trying to kill us.
Yeah.
And the stuff that she would read that would come across her desk would keep her up at night.
I believe it. If you know that constantly, I wouldn't, how couldn't that keep you up? You know, I talked to PJ Black. We call him good, doctor, but he's in tune to like a lot of the nature and he's really into the spiritualism and the nature and stuff. And he says, if you go and look at like Earth's climate and you look at the seasons and all that, and you go back 100 years and you see a cycle's happening. And that cycle, everyone thinks the apocalypse is going to be man-made, when really the Earth right now is starting to fight back. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he believes that what's going to happen is the Earth's going to start rebelling against us in some way.
Yeah.
And he thinks that'll be the apocalypse. And you can prep for it all you want, but he says, when the Earth's angry, the Earth's angry.
Yeah. Well, and people
then
can
you factor in people trying to kill us. I mean,
and people can boo-hoo it all they want and say, there's people who go, oh, I don't believe in climate change. I don't, whether you believe you're putting it out into the earth and destroying the earth, or whether you believe the earth is angry, something is happening.
Yeah.
So something is clearly happening right now. And
look at so the pandemic hit, whether you believe in the pandemic or not, it still happened. And you can go back 100 years. That's when the Spanish flu pandemic was. You go 100 years before that, there was, I believe it was smallpox. You go 100 years, you know what I mean? Like, history repeats itself.
Yeah. Everything goes in cycles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can deny all you want, or you can prepare for it and be ready for whatever it is that's coming. You can ride the wave, or you can get hit by it.
Right.
And we're not saying get really paranoid here, folks, and build up and hide in your house and never come out. That's not what we're saying.
Because there's no timeline. You can't say, remember in 2012 when everyone said the Mayan calendar ended and that was the day the world would end?
Yeah.
Obviously it didn't happen because here we are 2022, but there's no way of saying this is the final day of Earth. There's no way.
But see, the everybody read the Mayan calendar thing wrong. The Mayan calendar thing was just the end of one age and the beginning of another.
That's what I believe too.
Yeah.
Is they went through, and it could also be that they were working out and that's when they left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't know why it ended on that specific date. We don't know.
Yeah. But
just like she said, we don't know who's trying to kill us. We don't know. We don't know you don't know what's going to happen in 10 minutes. So how are you going to know what's going to happen,
Right. But I guess in smaller terms, in looking at smaller things, we have enough of a problem not killing each other at this point.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
To worry about whether, Mother Earth is going to shake us off her back like a dog does fleas.
Yeah.
Which I'm convinced is happening right now. I think that, the Earth has had enough of us. We've become the virus on Mother Earth, and she doesn't want anything to do with us anymore.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I mean, I don't think it's, I think it's a combination of things, but I just think that it's gotten to be too much,
I just think with the invention of social media and everyone knowing everyone's business, you know what I mean? Like, we're a boiling pot, and it's reached its peak. It's like if you take a pressure cooker, you know what I mean? And you cook your pork butt in that pressure cooker. If you don't stop the pressure, it'll eventually explode. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where right now we need some of that pressure taken off.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. Everybody knows everybody's business.
Yeah. Like I said, if you look for it, you will find it. So,
yeah.
If you believe that the apocalypse is going to happen because of a civil war, you're going to do all the research to prove that you are right. You're going to find it. If you believe that the apocalypse is coming because of, the earth, like you said, wiping us out with fleas and stuff, you do enough research, you're going to find it because you are bound and determined to find that. you know?
Well, I asked Kathy on this program, or actually on True Crime Tuesday, I said, you know, I'm trying to remember the expert that I had talked to who said, and this was an expert within the government, said democracy has about 2 terms left.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, about 2 terms left in the government before it falls apart, and that's 2 presidential terms.
Yeah,
about 8 years.
8 years
if we keep going at the pace we're going at.
Yeah.
And that's just because of the behaviors that we have, not only as a people, but as a government.
Yeah.
And it's just self-destructive behavior.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And it's not,
but
it's not
humans,
one or the other.
As humans, we are self-destructive.
Yeah.
I think that's just human nature.
We love to build up and tear down.
Yeah.
You know.
We're the only creatures that do that.
Yeah. There's no spirit of cooperation there. And if it were just a matter of people turning off that instinct of wanting to self-destruct, we could turn it around tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, if it were just a matter of you know, saying, well, we're not going to eat our own, you know, there's a reason why Rome fell, you know.
If we start to learn to compromise, because that's a forgotten. Having a discussion is a forgotten art.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You know.
Yeah.
And if we relearn that, I think we'll be okay. But I don't know how to do that. I'm just a guy living in North Carolina. You know.
Yeah.
I try to live my life like I can. I can't tell anybody else how to live their life.
Right.
You know. Right. But we all just need to learn to have a discussion again.
Yeah.
We don't all have to get along. We don't.
No.
But we do have to coexist.
Right. And compromise.
Exactly.
Compromise. Yeah, that's
how relationships work.
Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't it be cool if the apocalypse came because of some cuddly little creature just decide to open up on us with like a little penguin, just decide to unleash hell on us with machine guns, and the penguins just revolt, and we're all like, oh, look how cute they are, and they just wipe us out.
And they're the ones.
Yeah.
PETA's like, we were wrong.
Eat all of them.
Go ahead, have a party. So I have this story in front of me that the super rich preppers are planning to save themselves from the apocalypse. Tech billionaires are buying up luxurious bunkers and hiring military security to survive a societal collapse they helped create, it says here. But like everything they do, it has unintended consequences. I have a feeling this article has a bit of a slant. So let me...
it sounds like that, and we don't know if we want to say that.
Yeah, let me see if I can get to the heart of things here. Let me see if there's a point to this article before we get into it. You know, it doesn't seem like there's much of a thing. It just talks about the lavish bunkers that are being built and the fact that there's a place called American Heritage Farms that J.C. Cole is building that he's looking for people to invest in. It doesn't.
This reminds me of the game Fallout, where you have to get on a list to get into the. They're called vaults in the game. I believe they're making a live action series out of it too. But they're vaults that you have to sign up for, and then like nuclear war happens, and the sirens go off, and if you're on the list for this vault, you can get to the vault and it locks you in, and that's how the game starts, is you and your family are running to this vault, and then you get frozen cryogenically and stuff. I'm not gonna explain the whole game, but that's what this sounds like almost, is the rich are creating these vaults so that if the apocalypse happens and you're on the list, you can get into this vault.
Yeah.
You know, he got into the vault. The guy in the game got in the vault because he served in the military, so he automatically, him and his family, got to go in the vault.
Says here that many of those seriously seeking a safe haven simply hire one of several prepper construction companies to bury a prefab steel line bunker somewhere on one of their existing properties. Rising S Company in Texas builds and installs bunkers and tornado shelters for as little as $40,000 for an 8-foot by 12-foot emergency hideout, all the way
as little as $40,000.
And then it escalates from there, Bruiser. So 40,000 for the little one, that 8 foot by 12 foot emergency hideout, all the way up to the $8.3 million luxury series. It's called the Aristocrat.
$8.3 million, huh?
Yep. It's complete with a pool and a bowling alley.
Because that's what you want to do in the apocalypse.
That's right. The Enterprise originally catered to families seeking temporary storm shelters before it went into the long-term apocalypse business. The company logo, complete with 3 crucifixes, suggests their services are geared more towards Christian evangelist preppers in red state America than billionaire tech bros playing out sci-fi scenarios. Interesting that
I have a question about the 8.3 million. How are you going to afford the oil to re-oil your lanes? Or like, how are you going to find the oil to re-oil your lanes and the chemicals to keep your pool clean? Everything's gone.
Well, it's easier to maintain. You don't have to shock the pool as much on an indoor, and then you have a rebreather too. That I mean, indoor pools are easier to maintain than outdoor pools.
They are, okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about the bowling lane? Because you have to re-oil that.
You do, but you probably get a certain supply of oil to re-oil the lane.
That's how the second apocalypse happens. They run out of the oil for the lanes.
That's true.
Then go raid your neighbor.
Yeah. Then you're killing zombies to go get more oil for the lane.
And penguins.
Yeah.
Starting the apocalypse.
Yeah, the killer penguins. You got to get past them to get more oil for the lane. Or you figure out how to make a plant-based oil for the lane. I have no idea.
I'm going to oil my lanes with the blood of my enemies.
It says there's something much more whimsical about the facilities in which most of the billionaires, or more accurately, aspiring billionaires, actually invest. A company called Vivos is selling luxury underground apartments in converted Cold War munition storage facilities, missile silos, and other fortified locations around the world, like miniature Club Med resorts. They offer private suites for individuals or families and larger common areas with pools, games, movies, and dining. Ultra elite shelters such as the Oppidum in the Czech Republic claim to cater to the billionaire class and pay more attention to the long-term psychological health of residents. They provide imitation of natural light, such as a pool with simulated sunlit garden area, a wine vault, and other amenities to make the wealthy feel at home.
So they're going to have a lot of DVDs because you can't stream anything anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's done. Well, or is it? I mean,
Wi-Fi is not going to be around at the apocalypse.
Well, now you may say that, but the internet, there's the public internet, and then there's an internet that's run by the military.
True, but you don't think that'll go down if it's a nuclear apocalypse?
Nope.
You don't? Okay.
That's maintained by a separate, and that could be accessed by somebody with the right amount of money.
I agree with that. Yeah. Anything can be accessed with the right amount of money.
Right. So I think there will be a version of the internet around, but you'll have to have the right amount of stroke or money.
Well, I'm hanging out in my shed here that came with the house. That's my bunker.
And keep in mind that, everybody thinks that we'd be blasted back into the dark ages. I don't think so. I think society would rebuild quicker than people think.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be dark ages, but I'm thinking more like a Mad Max situation. Oh
God, no, not for that long. I'm thinking like 1930s Depression Dust Bowl era, and then right back into Industrial Revolution, and then building from there.
Okay, I can see that. But I don't know. I think we're going to rely more on horses and carriages and stuff because I don't think cars will be as operational. Well,
especially if it's an EMP bomb. It wouldn't.
All right, then there goes all the electricity and all that. And then we're in a Walking Dead situation. I mean, minus the zombies, but I still think it'd be like a Mad Max era thing.
I really think that it's not. I think to people, when people say the apocalypse now, it's not apocalypse now. I don't think it's to people now. A modern day apocalypse is not what it would have been like in the 80s. In the 80s, it would have been a nuclear bomb, a nuclear fallout,
war, we had nuclear winter, the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think that that's what an apocalypse is now. An apocalypse is literally now a technological wipeout.
I believe that, and I believe you would have to learn to grow your own food, and I think hunting would come back in. I don't think there's gonna be processed food.
Yeah, so it'd be a return to the 1930s.
Cars are gonna be our mode of transportation. I think our mode of transportation will be animals or walking.
Yep.
And I do think we'll live in houses.
At least until we can reestablish those modes of transportation again.
Which will be years. It'll be, like you said, it'll be another...
It'd be a couple of years, sure.
Yeah.
But it's not like we don't have the means to rebuild that.
True, but I think we're still relying on technology now. If you take technology away, the newer generation, I don't think knows how to survive without technology. What I mean by that is, if you walked into a modern day high school right now and asked them to create a fire without using any matches or gasoline, I don't think they could.
True, but there's still enough of the old guard around that could rebuild things, have the knowledge to rebuild things, and get the younger and show the younger people how to do it.
Yeah, but once that, how long until that old guard's gone? Because it's not being passed down to every generation right now. Certain areas it is.
Yeah.
But we're getting more and more relying on technology that it'll be a forgotten art.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
There's a show on Netflix called Snowflake Mountain where they take privileged kids that are just technology based and literally drop them in a mountain. And two survivalists are trying to teach them how to live off the land. And it's hilarious to watch because it's a bunch of rich kids that are lazy and never worked a day in their life. And now they have to hunt for their own food, harvest their own food. No electronics.
Well, that's got to be interesting.
It's hilarious. They don't know what a compass is.
Oh, God.
They can't read a map. My kids didn't know what an atlas was, and I had to show them.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, my children didn't know what an atlas was.
Crazy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If technology's gone, this current generation, they're not going to know how to survive. We're not teaching that anymore.
Yeah, true.
It's not like when we were kids,
Very true. Very true.
And I'm not saying that's for everybody. There are families out there that still live with tradition and stuff, but I'm saying the majority of this next generation. If you go into a high school right now, 80% of them don't know how to live off the land, I think.
Very true. Let's move on to our next story. It turns out that scientists have analyzed DNA of an immortal jellyfish to find out the secret to eternal life. So if you want to keep living through the apocalypse, you could.
Yeah. I don't want to live forever.
You want to live forever? No?
No. Mm-hmm. I've lived a good life.
Okay. T. domi, I believe it is the only species that is biologically immortal, and now scientists have peered into its DNA to find out what lets it live forever. Death is a universal fact of life unless you're a jellyfish, as explained in a new study. The jellyfish, what is this? Teratopsis dorni is the only species able to rejuvenate repeatedly after sexual reproduction. Wow. So it's like Ric Flair in that new Mount Everest commercial. It's just like, woo, 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 woo. It just keeps going.
Wait, we have to have sex to live forever?
I guess.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah. So it's able to rejuvenate repeatedly after sexual reproduction, becoming biologically immortal. And its DNA might hold the answer to the secret of eternal life. T. dorni pulls off an amazing biological feat to cheat death. Every member of the species is an identical clone and starts life as a polyp that becomes a mature organism called a medusa. This isn't particularly unique. That's what's amazing about T. dorni, that if the medusas get injured, sick, or old, they don't throw in the towel. Instead, they become a cyst that turns back into a polyp and restarts the whole process, churning out more clones. While it may be a bit different from the idea of living forever in a vampire story, it is strictly speaking biological immortality. You can also call it, as scientists do, life cycle reversal. It would be like if a person got old and turned back into a fetus, or a chicken into an egg. In a study published on Monday in the journal PNAS by researchers at the University of Oviedo in Spain, the authors describe how they compared the DNA of T. dorni to another closely related jellyfish species that is not immortal to determine what makes it special. Specifically, they compared genes involved in aging to DNA repair, and together with the transcriptome in RNA analysis of life cycle reversal of T. dorni, which has now provided new insights into the molecular mechanisms underlying teratopsis plasticity, which may contribute to the immortal phenotype of T. dorni, they wrote in the study. Indeed, the researchers found several differences that they pinned as likely having an effect contributing to the jellyfish's immortality. Overall, these changes suggest that T. dorni may have more efficient replicative mechanisms and repair systems than other species, the authors write. For example, they found more copies of POL-D1 and POL-A2 genes, which encode different proteins in T. dorni than in its mortal relatives, which suggest enhanced replicative capabilities in this species, the studies note. The species also has more copies of genes governing DNA repair and those that govern telomerase, which are enzymes that replenish the telomeres on DNA that shorten with age. This may contribute to a reduced telomere attrition and, as a consequence, to an enhanced cellular plasticity, the authors write, and may indicate that telomerase activity could be enhanced or more finely regulated in this species. While this knowledge isn't going to let humans become biologically immortal like T. dorni, and even if it could, why would we want it? It is an astounding jump forward in our understanding of age and how some species defeat it entirely. So, we're not going to become jellyfish anytime soon and become immortal, but, we can hope, I guess.
Especially when you have to become a cyst and a polyp. Like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't want to become a polyp.
No. We avoid polyps.
Yeah, we do, yeah. When we find them in our a-hole, we get rid of them.
Yes.
Yes. Speaking of things we find in our a-hole and want to get rid of, if you found a bee in there, you'd want to get rid of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A tri-state man out east woke from a coma after getting stung 20,000 times by bees.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That is painful.
It is painful. The 20-year-old's mother says he ingested dozens of bees that doctors were still suctioning.
Ingested them.
Yes, that they were still suctioning out a day later. Bruiser, we go to Ripley, Ohio.
This is why you look in your soda cans in the summertime, folks.
That's right. A 20-year-old man nearly lost his life after getting stung thousands of times by bees last Friday. Austin Bellamy remains on a ventilator in a medically induced coma at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center Tuesday night. Bellamy was up in a lemon tree trimming branches on Friday morning with his grandmother Phyllis Edwards and his uncle Dustin Edwards. At some point, Bellamy unknowingly cut into a bee's nest.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That'll piss him off.
Yeah, well, when he started cutting them, that's when the bees came out, and he tried to anchor himself down, and he couldn't, Phyllis recalled. He was hollering, "Help, help me, help," and nobody would help him. Phyllis and Dustin watched the entire episode unfold from the ground. Of course they did, because they didn't want to get stung.
Get down. Get down. Come on, honey, get down.
Oh, God. Unable to scale the ladder because they themselves were under attack. Oh, God, the entire family was getting it.
Yeah.
I was going to try and climb the ladder to get Austin. I seen how high he was, but I couldn't get to him because I was surrounded in bees, she said. Shauna Carter, Bellamy's mother, says she passed out when she got the phone call. It was just too much for me to take, she said. It looked like he had a black blanket on his head down to his neck, down to his arms.
Oh. That reminds me of the Jackass bikini, when they do the bee bikini in Jackass.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Scary.
EMS called UC Air Care for Bellamy. Phyllis left for the hospital in an ambulance moments before the medical helicopter arrived to transport the 20-year-old to Corryville. Bellamy was stung at least 20,000 times, according to an online fundraiser set up by the family. Carter says he ingested around 30 bees as well. Oh my God.
Poor guy. That's why you don't scream help. You just close your mouth and try to get out of there.
That's right. So he had bees inside of him, and they suctioned bees out of him until Sunday morning, she explained. So from Friday to Sunday morning, they were getting bees out of him.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's terrifying.
Carter says it was a Ripley Fire Department firefighter named Craig who saved his life. When I think of Craig, Craig is a lifesaver, she said. He's Austin's angel. He saved Austin's life. Doctors say Bellamy will make a full recovery. Good luck, Austin. Yeah, I just want to tell him that I love him and I miss him, and he's my boy, Dustin said. Oh, my God.
Heal well, Austin. Oh, that's just terrifying. That's nightmare fuel right there.
That is. I got to show you a picture of Austin here. This poor kid. Look at him.
Oh, he is swollen. Oh.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah.
Yeah. His eyes are swollen shut. He's swollen so much his ears are almost vertical or horizontal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, poor kid.
Yeah, it's just a terrible sight. So,
yeah.
We'll pray for you, Austin. That's for sure.
Definitely. At least he'll make a full recovery. That's good.
Yeah. Just ridiculous. Ridiculous how injured he is. That's one of those things where you're like, how much pain can one person take?
Oh, exactly. It's amazing how the human body reacts.
Yeah.
When that's happening, you know what I mean? And thank God for that firefighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
I got the
again.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said again, nightmare fuel. Oh.
Yeah, nightmare fuel. I got the grossest story ever from Tom, who sends me stories on occasion.
Okay.
God love him. I love the stories he sends me, but this is the grossest story I've ever gotten. I'm debating whether I should read it or not. This is one of those send the kids to bed and if you're at work, put on headphones.
We've reached the not safe for work part of the program.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
I'll just give you the headline and you tell me if you want me to read it anymore.
All right.
All right. This would be the last story of the day. In 3, 2, 1. Pearl necklaces. The people getting jewelry made from semen.
I've heard that term before, but are these actual necklaces?
These are actual necklaces that somebody is making stones.
I've heard the sexual term of that.
Right.
I've never heard that they actually make pearls out of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that somebody made a pearl out of a jizz bomb.
Anybody got an anniversary coming up? We can read the story.
I'll give you just a taste, so to speak.
Oh, don't say that.
Jeweler and sculptor Amanda Booth opened a package of bottled semen first thing in the morning. It was a mistake she'd only make once.
Okay.
Fresh samples are one thing, but when they've been in the mail for a little bit, I mean, it smells like semen. You know what I mean? Booth said. Oh, that is...
No, I don't know what you mean.
No. Clients commission Jizzy Jewelry, her term, and send samples of, to her workshop to be dehydrated, powdered, and incorporated into wearable clay beads or trinkets. Are you kidding me?
Oh, this is so wrong.
Isn't it, though?
Like I said, anybody got an anniversary coming up, we got a perfect gift for you.
Do you really love a guy that much that you'd wear his man chowder around your neck?
Like I said, I've heard of the sexual term pearl necklace, so this is just taking it literally.
She says, we process them at the end of the day. Otherwise, we're sitting in the smell all day. And it's just, we did it in the morning one day. And it was just like, no, I'm never doing that again. Oh, dear God.
Oh.
Booth started her jewelry business in 2021 and makes wearable sculptures and trinkets out of people's bodily fluids and ashes.
Oh, gosh.
She does everything from breast milk, cremated remains of loved ones or pets, fur, and locks of hair. After someone commented on one of her TikTok videos asking if she'd ever considered incorporating man juices.
Perfect line.
Yeah. Booth made a half-joking Facebook post about jizzy jewelry and started receiving actual serious orders for it.
Of course.
She tested the process with her husband, Jesse Mullen, first. Oh, of course she would, yeah. Here, honey.
Now that I volunteer for. Okay, honey, I can supply something for you.
Yeah, here. Into this cup. To figure out how much, would be needed.
Wait, that's his mead. What if she was going, hey, honey, I want a pearl necklace tonight. And he's thinking, yeah. And she's like, oh, no, not there. Into this cup. And then I'm going to make it.
Yeah. She had him, into a medical thing to figure out how much she needed to work into a sculpture. She says at least a teaspoon of liquid makes for the right clay to cum ratio. That's what she called it, not me.
Science.
Yeah. Science. That was a Thomas Dolby thing from She Blinded Me with Science.
Yeah.
He goes, science.
Or weird science.
Weird science. She determined, but more is better, she says. You can make a bigger You can make a bigger stone that way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So how much do you love your significant other?
Yeah. You want to make a big stone, baby? And whether the polymer clay would hold up to even baking. She says it turned out fantastic, the one that she made from her husband's, She posted a TikTok about making her first jizzy pieces last month. And that video went viral. People have been blowing up her DMs ever since, if you know what I mean. For a lot of Booth's customers, it's a kink thing. One of Booth's clients, who asked to remain anonymous, told the writer of the article that she and her long-term partner are loosely part of the BDSM community and have bracelets that act as collars or pieces of jewelry that typically symbolize a consensually possessive relationship. Ew.
Okay.
After researching further into the jizzy jewelry shop, we both thought it would be the ultimate you are mine type collar. Boy, is it ever.
It is.
Yeah.
It'll last you a lifetime.
It would be our little secret and inside joke. That's a hell of a joke.
So if they break up, does he get that back to give to his next girlfriend?
Ew. I never thought of it that way.
When like an engagement breaks up, sometimes the man gets the ring back. In this case, does he get the necklace back?
That's a good question.
And then just recycle it because he's cheap? And if you do you tell the second woman? And how many dates before you break? I have so many questions for people.
Yeah.
How long do you have to be dating before you present this to someone?
So many unhealthy questions. Yeah.
Good last story, Tim.
there's a quote here that I don't know if I want to read it or not, but it's very funny. You want to hear the quote?
Yeah, I guess. We're already we're already neck deep in this.
By now, people have turned the podcast off, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If they don't want to hear this story, those who are honestly intrigued are still listening. Those who are like, this is so effing gross, I can't stand it, have already emailed me at tim@darknessradio.com. You can tell I'm mildly disgusted, but I can't stop reading.
It's like a car accident.
Yeah. Collecting the sample was the trickiest part, one person said. We ended up opting to have my husband use a condom, then cut the end off the condom to deposit the sample in a specimen tube. Why not?
That makes sense.
Just shoot for the tube.
Maybe it's a tiny tube. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe his aim's bad?
It could be. We then sealed the tube with electrical tape around the cap. And
the duct tape.
And vacuum sealed it before placing it in a padded envelope. Oh, that mailman had to be happy.
Can you imagine if that breaks in transit?
Oh. Oh, that would just stink on the way.
Your package is leaking. I'm assuming you have to overnight it, right?
I would think you have to. It's got to go at least 2 days.
And it's got to freeze, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. The quote that's here in big black letters that I can't help but read says, my partner loves to say things like, you're going to be wearing my nut on your finger. And they're in your DMs, but that's my nut on her hand. Oh, God.
I see a bunch of frat guys getting this just to prank each other. Here, buddy. Bought you these dog tags. Go ahead, wear it.
Oh.
I'm on your neck.
I'm on your neck. Mm-hmm.
How do you bring that up in conversation, too? Like, again, how long do you have to be dating to bring that up?
Right.
How long did you be married to bring that up?
Right. Yeah.
What fetishes are going to come about because of this?
Honey, I know you love looking at diamond rings, but have I got an alternative for you?
Honey, instead of wiping me away at night.
Oh, no. No. I got something better than cubic zirconia.
Wait, don't flush.
Wait, don't flush. Oh, God, Bruiser. Why?
Gym socks everywhere are so upset.
They are. Why not me? Why not choose me? We're back to the gym socks.
Yeah, this is a.
Okay, wait a minute. There's a comment from a woman here.
Reading the story.
This is a long story. Somebody, the person who wrote this is just disturbed.
We got the gist of it.
Well, they talk about whether it's legal to mail it or not.
I'm assuming it's not.
It is.
It's a bodily fluid.
It's legal to mail semen even internationally.
So,
just so you know.
So you probably have to put a biohazard sticker on it, don't you?
She only asks that people seal the stuff up in a container that won't spill and double bag it just in case.
Always double bag.
Bree Horton, who ordered a ring and necklace to keep a part of her husband with her at all times, and because it would be funny to tell people that he gave me a pearl necklace. See, she's got a sense of humor.
See?
Said that everything was simple enough until they got to the collection. I got a collect cup and asked my fiance to do his part, she said. Poor guy was so nervous because he had never jizzed in a cup, so I started the process with getting him all hot and bothered. But after that, he got it done.
Wait, so what? So many questions that aren't appropriate.
Here's an interesting story for...
You're still reading the story.
For Kaylin McLaughlin, wearing her partner's, in ring and necklace form represents the opposite. She has polycystic ovary syndrome, which can cause infertility. Okay. I'm not sure what exactly drove me to wanting the jizzy jewelry other than having my other half with me always, she said.
Take a picture. Put it in your wallet.
But they haven't done the coming into mail-safe container step of commissioning yet. I'm pretty sure my other half thought I was joking until I told him I paid for the pieces. His response was, "What now? I got to masturbate into a cup?" She said, "He's a good sport, though." There's so many disturbing parts to this article.
There are. This is so wrong. Why did he have to masturbate? Why can't they do it themselves, like each other? And then when it's time, get the cup.
You know what? If my girls want, or any girl wants me to do this for her, she's getting me off into the cup. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I'm not taking this one in hand.
Yeah, it's not like we're getting paid for it.
Right.
It's for them.
Yeah.
They can do the work.
So ladies, if you want a little bit of me on your hand, you're gonna have to do the work. Yeah.
You can get me on your hand, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not in the words of a famous golfer, I'm not taking the strokes on this one. Just saying. Yeah.
Again, there's going to be so many pranks played by college kids out there.
Charisma says nothing says commitment and love like literally carrying their love with you. It's strange, but it's a very intimate and sentimental thing to get. Imagine loving a person so much that you feel as though you wouldn't function without them around. So heck to the yes, if I had an opportunity to have jewelry made out of his sperm, I was 100% going to take it.
Where was this when Jeffrey Dahmer was around? He could have been with them all the time instead of eating them.
She says, we don't have a sweet story like some may have, but we thought this was a super unique thing we could do. I mean, you only live once, right? So disturbing.
Yeah, it is.
Tom, thanks for that. By the way, if you have a story that you'd like to send us that's even more disturbing than this, you can send it to me at tim@darknessradio.com.
Good last story. Thank you, Tom.
That was the gist or jizz of me reading this story.
How much was Tom giggling when he sent that to you?
Oh, he probably was laughing.
He's still giggling.
He's still laughing at the fact that I read that on air. By the way, folks, we have a brand new website if you'd like to register your complaint over that last story. Darkness Radio. Whoa, what was that, Bruiser? Are you all right?
Oh, I'm knocking stuff over. My bad.
Okay.
Go back to the website.
darknessradioshow.com. That sounded like you brought down the entire computer shelf.
No, I kicked the bowl because I was laughing too hard. that last story threw me off my game, man. Like, I have so many inappropriate questions, and I just...
Give me one question so we can move past this and get to the promo.
No, go to the promo.
No. I need to know one. What's one question you have about this story?
Like... Does it have to go directly in the cup, or can you scrape it off her?
Well, I suppose it's not a clean sample. I mean, I suppose if you need to scrape it off anywhere, you could. I mean, it's not like it's not a clinical sample you're sending into CSI.
I know, and it's not like you're going to a sperm bank to do it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, like...
You saying you want to mix the fluids a little bit and send a little of her and a little of you in there? And...
Like, if you have those icing piping things that they use to pipe icing on cakes.
An icing piping thing?
Yeah, like they pipe on cake. Like they pipe frosting on cakes.
Oh, my God.
I told you, man, this story's got me. I'm 12 at heart. I'm sorry.
Just aim for the piper.
Exactly, because that's a big bag. You just, then you just squirt in your tube and you're
just throw your junk in it and go to town.
Sorry. Okay. Promo now.
All right.
New website.
New website out there if you'd like to complain about the last couple of questions Bruiser had. Darknessradioshow.com. You can get the archives of the show if you like to listen to the segment over and over and over again. Play it for your friends and go, listen to this disgusting shit I just heard. Yeah. Darknessradioshow.com. You can also leave your Parashare stories. It's on the right-hand side of the website. You can just click on that. There's a 2-minute loop for you. If you don't want to write us at tim@darknessradio.com and leave your Parashare stories, you can now leave a voicemail. There's a 2-minute loop there. If you need more time, just click on that button again and leave us 2 more minutes. I'll stitch it together. We can play your story now on the air. So do that. There's also blogs up. We are going to, both Bruiser and myself, if I can get just pressure Bruiser right now to write a blog.
I will.
His will probably be on Jizz Jewelry. We'll post it on
all the questions I can't ask here.
Yes, that'll be his blog. All the questions about jizz jewelry he couldn't ask on the air. We'll put it in a blog. That'll be his first blog for the website. God. So we'll have a blog up there, so you'll see random blogs from time to time. We've got lots of great surprises for you on the website. Also trying to come up for a website for True Crime Tuesday, official truecrimetuesday.com. That will be up shortly. We're just having some issues with that website, so that will be up as well shortly. So that's about it. Those are the notes for you. Bruiser, where are you going to be this weekend?
I'm taking off the performing hat and putting on the producer coach hat Friday and Saturday in Winston-Salem at the AML Training Center. They're doing a student show on Friday, and it's George Sell's 60th birthday on Saturday. So I'm going to do that. And then what I'm really excited about is Saturday. We're taking her to meet her litter mates.
Oh.
When she was dropped off at the Humane Society, there was 5 of them, 3 boys and 2 girls. And Ziggy was one of the girls, and we got a hold of the other owners, and all 5 will be reuniting on Saturday, and I'm really excited to watch her interact with the litter mates.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Mr. South. I got you a special necklace I'm sending out to you. It'll be coming in the mail, so to speak, in a few weeks. Just wait for it. It's coming. You have to be a little patient.
Oh. You're so mean.
Just saying.
It's a real special gift.
It's a real special gift. It comes from me personally. So you'll know it when you get it. Yeah.
Okay, Ziggy's checking out. She's worried.
She's like, Daddy's crying.
Daddy. I'm not getting her a collar.
You're not getting her a collar. Boy, you'd be exhausted by the end of that, wouldn't you? You'd have to lay down for more than a nap. You'd be out all night.
Oh. Okay.
I suppose that'll do it for today, folks. Tomorrow on the program, we have Daniel Duke with us. We'll be talking Jesse James and why he's exhausted after all that jewelry he found out there in the desert. Found an oasis with a mermaid. No. Templar Gold, deeper into the conspiracy of Templar Gold. So we'll be talking about that as well. Lots of good stuff coming up in the coming weeks for Darkness Radio. Nick Redfern will be joining us in the coming weeks. We'll be talking about how they built the pyramids. That's coming up
cool.
in the coming weeks, and we got some good guests coming in the next few weeks, as well as the usual hijinks here on Supernatural News and Parashare, and lots of good guests coming up for True Crime Tuesday as well. We've got some really good guests lined up as well for that. So we want to thank you folks for joining us on the show. We want to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring today's show and being a sponsor. Again, folks, you don't have to suffer in silence. If you feel like you need to talk with somebody about some of the trauma in your life, maybe you've got some issues that you're going through and you need to talk to somebody about those issues that you're going through, by all means, you can talk to somebody at BetterHelp. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go out to an office to get that done. And you can be matched up with a therapist that is to your liking. And if you don't find a therapist to your liking at BetterHelp, they will match you up with one that is to your liking. You can keep trying different therapists until you're successful. They'll switch. You can switch therapists at any time. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. You just visit betterhelp.com/darknessradio today and you'll get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/darknessradio. And get yourself out of pain. Get yourself to a better life. Use BetterHelp today. That'll do it for today's show. Again, join us for Daniel Duke tomorrow. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you for joining us for the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.